Motorcycle and RV policies? That's on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Visit geico.com to learn more.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Happy Tuesday. Whatever. Another day. Hot in Jacksonville. I have zero energy. I'm bummed because it's just, well, it hasn't officially been announced yet, but sources are coming forward now. I mean, Bruce Feldman. We got Bruce Feldman from ESPN, from college football. We got ESPN people. Thank you, Coos. The music. Can't get enough of that. Really set the scene here. The Big Ten Conference is postponing their football season, everybody. Is this like a Lifetime movie soundtrack kind of trailer, Coos?
You know I don't have a good...
This is all we had to work with.
Listen,
guys. We kind of talked about it yesterday a little bit. You know, there's rumors floating around and sources out there saying the Big Ten was going to call football. And it was more than one or two. I mean, it was a lot of people coming forward and saying that, right? So, obviously, a majority of me felt like this was going to happen. But it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to actually officially announce it and put it out in the airwaves and just try to imagine now a college football season without the Big Ten. It's a bummer, Coos. This one hits home, man. You know, like, I remember when we were at the Players' Championship and, you know, COVID-19 was kind of the new thing and, you know, sports are shutting down. The Utah Jazz shut their teams down and everything like that. And the NCAA basketball tournament said, no. We're not going to do it this year. Like, that one hit home to me because I'm accustomed to that. But now the Big Ten shutting down, it raises a lot of questions. I think number one, obviously, now is will other conferences follow suit? You know, the Big Ten's trying to get ahead of this stuff. They're trying to be the pioneers right now, trying to be the NBA, if you will, saying, hey, we're at the forefront of this whole matter right now. Check us out. I'm really curious to see if the Pac-12 follows suit. Obviously, with the ACC and the SEC and the Big 12, they're kind of doing their own little clique right now. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that. But right now, the Big Ten has officially postponed until the spring. And it begs the question. It begs the question of what is going to happen to those seniors? What's going to happen to the guys who are slated to go to the draft number one, but what's going to happen to those guys who are watching their peers right now in the SEC, in the Big 12, in the ACC playing football? I mean, if I was one of those guys right now, I'll be honest with you. I don't care if it was my dream to go to Ohio State. I don't care if it was my dream to go to Iowa, Nebraska. I don't care. At this moment, I'm hopping in the portal, man. I'm not even tiptoeing in the portal. I'm jumping 2 feet in, 2 hands in, and I'm all in that portal, man. Because you know why? I want to play college football this year.
Unbelievable big news. It's happening, and no wait and see for the Big Ten. Presidents say, hey, Harbaugh, hey, Ryan Day, hey, Scott Frost, hey, all you guys, you think you got a lot of power? Hey, we got the power, and we're not even going to listen to you. I've got questions about that. What does that do? Does that create friction on campus when you have outspoken coaches and administration? There was some thought, I got an email today about, actually, when we were talking about this yesterday, said, no doubt they gave the approval to say what they wanted to say and support the players. Well, maybe so. But to me, on the outside, until we know that for sure, this looks like Jim Harbaugh and maybe his president are at odds about whether they should play. Is it enough to say, hey, Jim Harbaugh, I'm out of here, man. I'm going back to the NFL. I mean, could you someday get to the point where it's because of this decision? Justin Fields, potentially the number 2 pick in the draft. I guess you could say potentially the number 1 pick in the draft, but definitely a top pick. What does he do now? Even with a spring season, do you sit out? Does the NFL alter its schedule for some of these kind of players to play? Again, we talked about the spring season yesterday. I don't think it's as big of an issue to play in the spring as some others do. And then who follows suit? SEC, ACC, Big 12, kind of in their own little pod. Pac-12 expected by a lot of these national guys who reported on the Big Ten canceling to cancel later today. Now, we'll see if that comes to fruition. But it looks like you've got 2 Power 5s and 3 Power 5s, and they're kind of doing a little bit of battle right now in terms of their stances and who's right and who's wrong. There's no way to know who's right and who's wrong. The Big Ten could be absolutely correct in getting ahead of this thing and pushing it off and planning for down the road instead of playing right now. I honestly like the position the SEC's been in all along. They said right from the get-go, we're going to move our season back to September 26th. That gives us a lot more time to figure this out. And they could slide again, quite frankly, if they wanted to, much like a lot of the school systems do. I know we live down in St. Johns County. St. Johns County said, hey, we're not going to go back till August 31st. I think that was kind of smart. I don't want to get my kids out of the house, but I think that's kind of smart to say, hey, we're going to see how some of this unfolds in Georgia and other counties in the area, and then we can make more decisions. Now, the one caveat to that is, for the SEC, if you're going to start going, you got to keep going, and then decide when you're going to play, because you can't just bring kids back and coaches back and say, okay, get 3 weeks to get ready, let's go play. You got to give them ample time to get ready to go. What does it mean if the 3 conferences do play, or 1 or 2 do play? What does that do for, like, national championships and bowl season and all of that? Wow, so many things to be answered. But this is the first domino. The Big Ten follows the lead of the MAC and then the Mountain West, and they say we're not playing football. But important note, not cancellation of football, more of a postponement with the idea of playing in the spring, which will come with its own set of challenges. That's the big story here on a 3 o'clock on Tuesday in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's a big story in Columbus, Ohio, and Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Happy Valley is not so Happy Valley in Pennsylvania, and all the places around the Big Ten, but all the places around the country that love college football, because now what? What's next? And how do you deal with it? A lot of questions to be answered that we really, quite frankly, don't know. And much like this coronavirus pandemic, as sports were shutting down, hitting the pause button, we didn't know what the right and wrong decisions were. It looked like as they joined hands, it was the right thing to do. Shut it down for a while. Was it the right thing to start back up for Major League Baseball? Was it the right thing for the NBA? Is it the right thing for the NFL? Well, I think that's still debatable to some. We're glad as sports fans to have it back. The PGA Tour seemingly has done all right. The NBA has done all right. Major League Baseball has had its issues. There's just no cookie-cutter way to do it. There's no blueprint way to do it. And if you think there is, well, that's more of a view than it is a solution. On what's going on right now in college football and really in sports.
So when we talk about this Big Ten decision, listen, I'm sitting here right now, and I don't know if I'm cool with it. I don't know if it's the right decision. I don't know if it's the wrong decision, right? And I can bring my political views into it, and I can, sprinkle on some, society views if I want to, but that's not going to do anything for anybody. No matter what you do right now in this environment, there's going to be a group of people that are upset. And I can go ahead and break this down right now with the Big Ten, and I can give the positives and I can give the negatives. But what rubs me the wrong way right now, it's what I talked about yesterday a little bit, is the fact that when we're talking about the sport of college football, and we're talking about the NCAA, and I understand that these conferences, they're their own entities, right? They have their own conference networks on different channels, and that they kind of run things their own way. I get that. But at the end of the day, to me, it's a union. It's a collection of college football players around the country that want to play the game and that love to play the game. And for, a small minority of them have the benefits to try to pursue a career in the NFL and make a better living for themselves and their families. So when the Big Ten announces that, listen, we're going to go against the grain here. We're going to opt out, for the fall, hopefully come back in the spring and put, some of our student athletes behind the 8 ball a little bit. That rubs me the wrong way, because now it's a disadvantage. Now I look at those Big Ten college football players, they're at a big, giant disadvantage. And to me, that's the last thing you want in athletics. It's all supposed to be about fair play, fair play, fair play. Well, right now it's not fair play, and that's my issue. And once again, maybe eventually down the line, other schools will follow suit. Maybe eventually down the line, the SEC will come around. I'm not sure. But what I know right now is that there's one conference out of 5 that chose not to have a season this year in the fall. And that's a huge disadvantage.
Well, there's many, actually, in terms of college football programs now. I think
but the Power 5.
Yeah, but the Power 5. Yeah. 40 college football programs now will not play in the fall. fall programs, actually. It's not just football, it's fall programs. This is in from the Big Ten just moments ago. Quote, our primary responsibility is to make the best possible decisions in the interest of our students, faculty, and staff. This is Morton Shapiro, chair of the Big Ten Council, Presidents and Chancellors and Northwestern University president. Quote, the mental and physical health and welfare of our student athlete has been the center of every decision we have made regarding the ability to proceed forward, said Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. As time progressed and after hours of discussion with our Big Ten Task Force, Emerging Infectious Diseases, and the Big Ten Sports Medicine Committee, it became abundantly clear that there was too much uncertainty regarding potential medical risk to allow our student athletes to compete this fall. We know how significant the student athlete experience can be in shaping the future of the talented young women and men who compete in the Big Ten Conference. Although that knowledge made this a painstaking decision, it did not make it difficult. Interesting. While I know our decision today will be disappointing in many ways for our thousands of student athletes and their families, I'm heartened and inspired by their resilience, their insightful and discerning thoughts, and their participation through our conversations to this point. Everyone associated with the Big Ten Conference, its members, institutions committed to getting everyone back to competition as soon as possible. The fall sports included in the announcement: men's and women's cross country, field hockey, football, men's and women's soccer, and women's volleyball. So that is the latest from the Big Ten. As they continued on in a statement. Interesting, they said painstaking, but not difficult. That surprises me a little bit. And they said, and they also used the word abundant, which we heard abundantly clear became kind of a catchphrase during this whole pandemic, right?
Yeah.
It's abundantly clear. We have to shut this down, this down, this down, this down. We have to do this and this and this. Well, this is a forceful statement from the Big Ten. And it almost sends a message to me, to the other conferences, like, hey, you know you're playing with fire if you do this.
Yeah.
Like the research and the advice says, shut it down. Don't do it. And you're messing with fire and obviously concerned about the dollars involved and everything else. And there's a lot of trickle down. It's not just dollars, but dollars are a big priority in this. It basically sounds like they're sending a message to the rest of the country in college football to say, you guys do this. You're doing it with known risk. And maybe because your priorities are not in the right place.
No, and listen, I mean, last night ESPN dropped an article about how there was belief that obviously there's medical issues regarding the heart that's associated with COVID-19. I think 5 players officially have been said in the Big Ten to have some kind of heart issue related to COVID-19. Now, they didn't say what schools they're from, what sports they played, but 5 students as of now have had a heart issue related to COVID-19. And they said there's a couple more, obviously, in the Power 5. Once again, I understand it, and I get both sides. And sometimes as a leader, sometimes as a person in power, it's your job to save, the employees or the students. You have to save them from themselves sometimes, right? Like we talk about in fighting all the time. Sometimes it's your job as your coach to save your fighter from himself. Obviously, the athletes want to play, and maybe, the president or whoever knows more than we do, and they're like, listen, we know you want to play right now, but your safety is our number one concern. I'm just coming from the theory, though. And once again, I don't have the answers, okay? And whatever I say, people are going to disagree with me no matter how I preach it. But I'm just saying, if this goes down and the Big Ten doesn't play fall sports, and all of a sudden you have the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 play sports, and there's not a significant issue that stems from it, I think the optics from the Big Ten sitting out, obviously there's going to be backlash, and there's going to be a revolt.
We will see. Now, what do the players do? What could they do? Where does it go from here for so many talented players in the Big Ten? And by the way, there's this huge domino effect all over college athletics, from all the different sports, from cross country to football to everything else, to outside the Power 5 to the MAC and Mountain West, who have already canceled as well. So all these kind of conversations go to them too. They're already dealing with it, just not as high profile, with this little less money at stake, and the amount of players that will come from the Big Ten that will, or the Pac-12 as well, or even in totality the Power 5, that will go on to play at the next level. That becomes a thing now. Dave Caldwell shared some thoughts that were interesting on that as it pertains to even one specific player on the Jags football team, and that was even before this decision was made, but it did put it in perspective some, and this won't be for everybody, but it will be for some college athletes that will look to play at the next level. We'll get into that. What Dave Caldwell did say about the Yannick and Jags situation might not have been a lot, but it was enlightening enough And what are you thinking about the Jan situation? Have you turned your mentality on whether Jan will play again or at least this season for the Jacksonville Jaguars now that you've seen some things play out the last 24 hours, splitting with the agent and what Dave Caldwell said earlier today? We'll talk a little Jags. College football is a huge story. What are your thoughts? 904-362-9901.
Can we get some thoughts on your haircut when we come back, too, man? That's the breaking news of the day right now.
Yeah, it was before the Big Ten announced. Big Ten Trump.
Got staged, man. I'm sorry.
We're cutting everything, obviously, today on the chopping block.
I've been there.
Jump in the conversation. Seriously, what are you thinking about the Big Ten? Did they make the right call? Should the others follow suit? Where do you sit on it? Don't get political with us now. Your thoughts as college football fans or sports fans on what's going down as we enter the fall and football. College football done in the Big Ten, at least for 2020, is the latest out of the Midwest and beyond. We've got more to come on ESPN 690, star 690, and also on social media. Other ways you can jump in here on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Hot and humid today under partly sunny skies. Scattered heavy afternoon thunderstorms continue into early this evening, dropping from the low 90s this afternoon into the mid-70s tonight. Partly sunny tomorrow. Scattered afternoon thunderstorms. Your Wednesday high up to 94. And Thursday, partly sunny. Some afternoon storms and in the low 90s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
Celebrate your love with end of summer savings now at Beards Diamonds.
Right now at Beards, take advantage of 5 years, 0 interest financing.
Yes, 5 years, 0 interest financing with 0 down.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of diamond studs for $1,500. You pay just $25 a month. But it's only for a limited time and only at Beards Diamonds.
Located at the St. John's Town Center.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Let us explain. If you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct today and decide in the future you want to upgrade to a larger diamond, Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. For example, let's say you bought her a $5,000 diamond last year, but now she wants to upgrade to a $6,000 diamond. Diamonds Direct will give you $5,500 towards the new one. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Whether that first diamond was $3,000 or $30,000, you get 10% more. And unlike other stores who claim to offer diamond upgrades, at Diamonds Direct, there's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Come and discover real value and buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Off Town Center Parkway, just left of the Hyatt. Official jeweler of the Jaguars.
You ready for some good news? No, make that great news. You know that new Toyota you've been wanting? It's as good as yours thanks to the huge savings going on now at Arlington Toyota. Every new Toyota Arlington's got is on sale. In fact, you can get 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. That's 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. Want to drive away in a new Toyota with no payments? Right now at Arlington, you can. Get no payments for 90 days on your new Toyota purchase. Every single day at Arlington, you're going to have over 750 new and quality pre-owned to choose from on the lot, ready for you to drive home today. And with every new vehicle purchase from Arlington, you get a nationwide lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. But wait, there's more. It's time to get your new Toyota and save big at Arlington. Wait no more. Now's the time to get your new Toyota and save big at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/August savings for full details.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
There's a new, modern, patient-centered orthopedic practice in Jacksonville.
We believe that the patient pays money for a doctor and should be seen by a doctor.
Ortho Edge.
They're getting the most technologically available medicine there is.
Ortho Edge.
You're going to get a much better experience with your physician. We all see our patients.
Get the answers right away and more focused care on patients.
Find out more about us at orthoedge.com.
Ortho Edge. We're in the DePaul building attached to St. Vincent's Medical Center, Riverside.
I'm Glenn Levine, a board-certified civil trial lawyer. That means the Florida bars recognize me as an expert in the field of civil trial. As a trial lawyer, I'm trained to investigate every aspect of your case. If you've been involved in a legal dispute and are not sure of your options, call me, Glenn Levine, at the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. But if you can't catch it, or if you want to go back and listen again, check out the Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 podcast. Just search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Hi, I'm Ryan Murphy, Olympic gold medalist. You're watching Action Sports Jacks.
We believe that discussions about short-circuiting the season are entirely misplaced, and I support Florida State continuing to play with the season, as I do all the sports throughout the state of Florida. It's very, very important, and I think that if you look at being a part of a program like Florida State, this is a part of really a storied tradition. I mean, you look at all the people that have come before who've walked through this university, the people that have been out on Doak Campbell Stadium and played some very important games. You become part of that culture, and that's something that you really just can't replace.
That's Governor Ron DeSantis in Tallahassee today, and comments about, hey, let's play football. Essentially from some of the lawmakers. And it doesn't seem like we're going out of our way to not mix politics and sports in 2020, does it?
It's impossible, man.
I mean, it's
impossible.
Like, hey, yeah, we'd like to stick to sports. Okay, let's just invite the governor and the president on all sports shows and talk about it.
It would be like trying to dissect the Reese's peanut butter cup and only eat the peanut butter. Like, you're gonna have some chocolate sprinkled in, man. And like with your sports right now, there's gonna be politics sprinkled in. It is what it is.
Yeah, whether you
2020.
Yeah,
let's go.
There's no such thing. Hashtag stick to sports. Hashtag stick to politics.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But and again, it's fine. Like, listen, everybody's got their views. I'm okay with people's views. I am not this is a tough one, right? This one doesn't even come, like, politics doesn't even enter my mind on this topic. It really doesn't. It does not enter my mind. I know it enters everybody else's mind. It's, again, you can't eat a Reese's peanut butter cup without politics entering anybody's mind. I can't believe how people are shaded by it so much. It's just unbelievable. So if you, again, I'm trying to say, if you can follow me and think a little bit in this sense, maybe it's because of what I do, or maybe it's just because I'm kind of a down the middle guy and I don't really get caught up on one end or the other from a political viewpoint. This doesn't even enter my mind, politics, but of course in the conversations the last couple of days, it's starting to enter the fray big time. And to be honest with you, even without it entering the fray, I think it's a very complicated topic. I would love to see everybody play football this fall. Absolutely. I think there's a big part of me that says, give it a go. But I will say what I said yesterday. If I'm the president of that university, if I'm the commissioner of a conference, it would be very hard to justify it across the board. It would be hard. So I am you know me, I hate sitting on the fence on these things, but give me all the information at hand, and I can seriously see, all right, let's give it a go. I mean, listen, my kids played some summer ball this year. We didn't just say, hey, you can't go out of the house and not do that. I mean, we kind of did. So I'd be hypocritical to say, no, I don't think this can work. Now you take, I would probably be the guy, by the way. I'm not sure I'd be advocating right now as much. If I was in college for the whole waiver thing. I understand the movement and I get it. And I'm a huge student athlete. They need more power. They need more supporters. They need more of that. So I'm okay with what they're doing. But I'd probably be like, if I was back in college right now during this time, I'd be like, yeah, I'll sign a waiver, whatever. Let's go play ball. I mean, that would be me. Would I do that for the kids? I mean, probably right now. But now you're asking to put me in the leadership standpoint of this. And now I'm in charge of thousands and tens of thousands of kids and their health. Oof, tough to pull that trigger, man. Tough to pull that trigger without full disclosure or waivers being like, I'm okay. Well, I'm off the hook. I mean, that is just logical. I don't think I'm illogical by saying that. That's not. I don't even feel like I'm sitting on the fence. There are two sides to this thing, and it depends what position you're in.
Let me ask you this right now, then.
And not who you vote for. It depends what position you're in.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, then. The Stand United campaign that started out west in the Pac-12, they had the stipulation that you're not going to sign the waiver.
Yeah.
If student athletes in the Big Ten would have signed that waiver and said, we accept full responsibility of what happens to us, are we talking about right now the Big Ten shutting down?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I don't.
It's got everything to do about a waiver then.
I think it's got everything to do with liability. Absolutely.
So then why didn't the Big Ten try to bring it back up again, but before they chose to cancel the fall season?
Because the NCAA came out and said that you can't do it. The NCAA, when they came out and said, we will support kids who opt out and we will you have to hold the scholarship for them. They also came out and said, you can't make them sign a waiver. We will support the student athlete through this process from a medical standpoint, that we will not ask them to sign waivers. And so once they did that, that was out of the Big Ten's hands. It's out of commissioner's hands. It's out of president's hands. You can't do it. The NCAA said so. That was the one thing they ruled on. And so the bickering of that part never happen. And by the way, that would be that'd be a tough fight to win for the universities and the commissioners and the conferences and all that anyway. That would look bad on their part. No, we don't want to take care of the student athlete. Oh, please sign your life away right here, like you're going skydiving.
No, for sure.
I mean, that's really well. And again, that sounds extreme, but that's what they're basically saying is like, hey, whatever happens. So let's just make sure we can play football and we're not from a legal standpoint culpable for it.
Sure.
So, but the NCAA basically didn't allow that. And good on them. They shouldn't, probably. They shouldn't. I think student athletes should be supported. In that sense, again, I probably wouldn't have read that 20 years ago. But like, okay, where do I sign?
Yeah, for sure.
Where do I sign? And okay, I'm going to go play baseball.
And it also begs the question, how many student athletes out there right now with that hashtag, we want to play, would be willing to sign the waiver?
I asked that question yesterday.
In retrospect, it begs the question.
If you said to them, I think it's a fair question. It's kind of a moot point, but I do think it's a fair question, and I brought it up yesterday. If you said, and listen, these young student athletes, young men and women, should be fighting for more of their rights and power. And again, student athletes, I think, have been used by universities and coaches and the amount of scholarship offers and then ripping them away. There's a lot wrong with the system. And so I am all for them using their platform and uniting and standing strong behind it. That being said, if you asked, say there was like 36,000 tweets or something like that about it, I think I read somewhere at one point. If you got those 36,000, you said, okay, hey, this is great what you're doing. But if here's a choice. Sign that and say, hey, I'm willing to take the risks, or we are canceling. You can't play. I would say more than half would say, okay, I'm going to sign that. I do. But then, that's what I think. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying I think they would.
But then the problem is, though, is if you have, let's say, 60, 70% of those students that are going to sign it, what happens to the other 30%?
Well, you opt that out, essentially. I mean, you would opt out. But again, it's a moot point, man, because they're not allowing for it.
No, I know.
And so in that essence, how many student athletes are going to potentially declare for the NFL draft from the Big Ten? Let's just work with the Big Ten right now. I would say a good amount. I mean, it's a talented program, some of the top programs. I mean, historically, Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State, they're sending a bunch of guys to the NFL.
Sure.
So you're going to have that group. What I would assume now will opt out in the spring. They won't play that year anyway, unless there are some drastic changes to the NFL rules. But as it sits right now, I'd be very surprised if they played. Would you?
No, I would. Well,
Justin Fields, is he going to play?
No, he doesn't have to play because he's going to be a first-round pick. Like, to me, in the Big Ten, listen, I'm not sure how the draft's going to shake out this year. Theoretically, there's probably, maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10 first-round picks from the Big Ten this year, maybe a little less. I don't know how it works out. But there are some first-round picks, obviously. But the problem is what we talk about all the time, Brent. Like, yeah, go ahead and opt out, or go ahead and sit out this season. Don't play in the spring. Go to the combine. Make your money there. That's fantastic. But what do I always say? What's the most important thing you can have as a college football player trying to get drafted and try to go to the next level of the NFL? It's your tape. And if you don't have a lot of tape out there, it's going to hurt you, man. It's going to cost you. Like, that's the first thing that scouts look at. They don't watch the 40-yard dash. They don't watch your bench press, your broad jump. Truth be told, they could probably care less. What they want to see is how you play on tape against some of the best, college football teams in the country. So when you take that away, man, you start to lose some of that draft intrigue. You start to lose some of that draft stock, if you will. And then there's a lot of guys out there right now. Not everyone's Justin Fields. Not everyone was Chase Young from last year.
Absolutely.
Regardless of no matter what you do, your junior year, your senior year, you're going first round. Not everybody has that luxury. So once again, from a competitive advantage, you have SEC players out there with the possibility to put out more film this year. You have ACC players with the same thing, and now the Big Ten can't do that, man. Yeah, there's going to be players opting out, obviously, because they're going to be forced to, because you're not going to play during a combine. You're not going to play during an all-star game. You're not going to play during the drafting process. But they're going to be behind the 8 ball because they don't have a chance to showcase their skills on film, which is the most important thing when you're trying to go to the NFL.
Yeah, listen, I think you're right. there are going to be, much like this year, an undrafted free agency. You're not going to have a great chance to make the team because there's no preseason games. It's bad luck on a lot of parts. It's going to eliminate things. Listen, there were 5 rounds of the Major League Baseball draft. There's usually 40-something.
Yeah.
Took opportunities away. Yeah, there was undrafted free agency and all that stuff. There's always a way back onto or into the league. It just now becomes very difficult for some. Let me ask you this. It'll be interesting to see how they handle transfers and things like that. We don't know. This would be unprecedented. The NCAA has to prove that. Somebody just asked, hey, what if Justin Fields wanted to transfer to LSU, Florida State? I said, what about Georgia?
Yeah, there you go. No, I mean, listen, he can very well do that.
But the NCAA still has to prove that. Where are they going to fall on that? Will be interesting because there's going to be a wave. You're right. There will be a wave of that happens. Absolutely.
What do you think is going to happen with that, though? Well, I mean, if you're the NCAA, how do you handle that situation? Because are you really going to tell kids, no, you can't transfer in the portal? Like, this is the one excuse that you can't use? Sorry, I understand you want to make some more money and maybe get drafted higher, but nah, sorry, man, you guys can't transfer with this one. It's crazy.
I think it would be very hard to allow that.
For them to transfer?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It'd be very hard to allow it. And play. I mean, right away. You could always transfer, but usually you have to sit.
Well, yeah.
But to transfer this semester, by the way, semesters are like starting in most places. We're August 11th, so we're getting really close. I think it would be very hard, or to transfer into that January session and then play right away. Well, actually, you'd have to transfer now to play right away for a fall team. What am I thinking? I was thinking more from the Big Ten. Could you transfer over to the Big Ten? But I think it'd be very hard. I don't know how the NCAA would allow that. And quite frankly, listen, I understand there's a lot of unfairness right now going on in what you brought up a lot, fair play, and how that's written on the walls, but in the NCAA. And it doesn't seem very fair right now to the Big Ten kids. Well, that's true. I think it would almost be more unfair. Let's just take the situation of Justin Fields. Justin Fields transfers, say, hey, I'm going to go to Florida State. Well, Florida State, you got 4 quarterbacks battling for a job at Florida State. You're going to come in here and say all the work we've put in and we've done and our loyalty here and we wanted to – we're just going to get trumped by a guy that comes in 3 days?
Yeah, but I mean, that could very well happen. I mean, listen, people transfer all the time, Brent.
It does, but they're not allowed to play all the time.
True.
This would be be a unique circumstance where you could load up teams. I mean, you talk about an uncapped free agency, essentially. I mean, you could take – I mean, heck, if all of them decided if they wanted the LeBron James it and D Wade it, they could go to UCF and play and load up UCF or Miami or what else.
You could, but keep in mind, like, there has to be some kind of strategic move here. Like, you can go ahead and load up your teams and have, like, the dream team if you want, but the whole point of going into transfer is to showcase your skills. If you're surrounded by a talent like that, it could be hard to showcase your skills.
Yeah, it's true. It's a tricky situation for those kind of players. Here's what I wonder. If I'm Justin Fields, again, Justin Fields is a great. He's a very good player. Looks like he's going to be a top 5 pick, and he's probably the second best quarterback. Most would say. You're North Dakota State. I would be different
to Trey Lance. Well, and it begs the question: what's he going to do then? I mean, if anybody could transfer to a different school and play right away, I mean, Trey Lance is going to be that guy. Yeah. I mean, pending because the North Dakota State got shut down.
True.
Yeah.
But here's my thought. Let's just say this spring season that everybody's talking about runs, I don't know, February to April. Ends right in time for the draft. You know what you're going to see? Remember all those guys that stood out for or skipped bowl games and said, hey, I had a business decision, it's best interest, Leonard Fournette and others, which has become the norm. Here's what you might see. You talk about that tape, and it might not be the Justin Fields. It might be all those other guys. There might be a dozen guys on Ohio State that say, hey, guess what? I'm going to play, but I'm going to stop in late March. I'm done in late March. I'm playing 8 games.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not finishing through the season. You could see that. You can then get your tape, increase your stock for the draft, still participate potentially in a pro day or a visit or whatever else. Heck, maybe even the combine. But I'm out. I don't even know if that adds up. Because I don't know if that makes sense because you might not be able to be enrolled now that I'm thinking about it. And do that. Like you might have to declare that before the January semester would begin. And actually, that does make sense now. I don't think you could do that.
Well,
could you just drop out? I guess could you drop out of school in March?
I think you're kind of committed, aren't you?
I'll have to check on that because now that I'm talking out loud about
that would violate the scholarship. I don't think you can do that.
Well, I don't know. Kids, some of those guys, it would be worth repaying a semester of scholarship.
Listen, that's what I did. So, I mean, I opted to leave early. So I left for a semester.
That's my
point,
I
forfeited my scholarship.
You didn't go second semester your last year.
Correct.
Right?
Well, I went halfway.
That's normal.
Yeah.
My point is, what if you opted in for January and February and then decided?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if you can do that. I don't think you can, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, and correction. So I think North Dakota State actually is still playing. It's the championship.
It's
like their playoff.
The FCS. Yeah, they've canceled the championships.
Yeah, exactly. Because okay. Anyways, but this kind of begs the question too. And let's go and play the game, and let's go and assume that the NCAA is gonna say they're gonna put a kibosh to transfer. Like, no, you're not. You guys are staying where you're at. This is not an excuse. Sorry, it is what it is. You guys got the bad luck of the draw. You're stuck in the Big Ten. I wonder if this is gonna affect how we look at combines and all-star games, right? Because we say it all the time. The combine, the 40-yard dash or something that comes from it. There's some drills that you can maybe gauge a little bit. But the bench press, but the vertical jump, but all this stuff, like how much can you really gauge about a player? And you put them through the ringer, you keep them up for, 20 hours a day, make sure they're tired, take the Wonderlic test. How much is that actually used in the recruiting tool or in the process to draft a player, and also the all-star game as well? So it begs the question where, let's say the Pac-12 opts out until the spring. Let's say the Big Ten, obviously right now, is opting out until the spring. I'm curious to see if maybe we see a precedent where, you know what, the kids are like, screw the combine, screw the all-star games. Let's go ahead and put the most important thing about the drafting process out there, and that's our film. So let's go ahead and play some games, not worry about the combine, not worry about the all-star games, and let it go from there.
That's a little bit of that's why I said I'm not as turning my nose up as much at the spring season. You already go through the rigors of this. This actually might be the best situation draftable players have been in. They're going to get to fall off, and then they can go through that football cycle. Yes, more intense in the spring than normal. Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, it is a grind going from July through the football season, end with a bowl game, then start working out for NFL teams after maybe a few days off, then go to the combine, the Senior Bowl, interviews, pro days. That's a grind. Yes, different intensity playing football, but you can... Maybe they just opt out. My point is maybe they play half of the season and they opt out of it. Again, the rules on that will be interesting because we've never seen anything like this. So that will be an interesting part of it. Big Ten statement out today that's got me kind of flabbergasted. We'll share that coming up next on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Hey, what's up? It's Austin Land of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. If you didn't catch today's episode, I'm not mad at you, not even disappointed, but check out what you missed. If you only make a baseball game 7 innings, dude, you take away a lot of the history.
It's always been the problem, is preserving the record book. The numbers mean something. But you know what? The guy that has the all-time home run record took steroids, everybody thinks.
Check out our podcast on all platforms. Just search ESPN 690. Subscribe to our podcast. Thanks.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You've got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After the crash, call the police and document the scene by taking photos of all the vehicles involved. If you were injured, get medical attention as soon as possible. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, "Goal!" You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
It turns out Mike Greenberg has more to say.
If there had been 7 teams making the playoffs last year, they would have made it in Pittsburgh.
He's back.
Now you add Ben Roethlisberger. Why not Big Ben?
Greeny, coming August 17th to the all-new ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Berman, and every time I come back to Jacksonville, I listen and watch Action Sports Jacks.
I'm anxious to see what the resolution of the college season is. And I know some conferences have canceled. You know, there's talk of other conferences canceling. Obviously, it's, we've done our homework on a lot of these guys already. So the players with a play history and a lot of video out there, we can make good educated decisions on. It'll probably hurt maybe some of the smaller school players or guys that like Kalavon Chason, who missed his sophomore year and came out junior. Maybe you'll see less juniors come out and then wait to play, their senior year.
That is Dave Caldwell, Jaguars general manager. An interesting play right now in the scouting community in the NFL. They have all eyes on this. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. He brought up Kalavon Chason, good example. Guys that might be juniors coming out could end up staying for their senior years, which I don't know if that's a huge thing. Guys are younger and younger and younger. I mean, what's Chason, like 21? And he's already out into the NFL? Feels like guys are so young now coming out of school. For a bit there, they were all 22, 23 years old. Heck, Jan is 4 years in his NFL, and he's 25. He just turned 25.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's devastating in that regard for your NFL career. Mm-hmm. It depends how you look at it. Everything has gotten younger. In fact, that's a topic for a little bit later on today in a good way. But I think about it like this. From a scouting community, Laviska Shenault's a great example, and Caldwell brought it up today again, but he actually brought it up way back at the draft, and it stuck with me. Shenault had a really good year in 2018 to the point where now, he says he might have been like the top 2 guys on I don't remember that. I don't know where he would have fallen, but he would have probably gone in the first round, it sounds like.
Oh, I mean, he was slated to go the first round.
Yeah.
All the experts had him gone first round.
Then he gets hurt, dinged up, a little banged up. His stock falls a little bit, and he goes in the second round. Mm-hmm. So for him, playing that extra year actually hurt. So we think about how this could hurt everybody. Mm-hmm. Well, it might help guys like him. Like if he had missed his year, he would have probably still been a top whatever receiver.
Sure.
And maybe gone in the first round. So it can hurt guys, too, coming back. That's what I say about the Trevor Lawrences of the world. For him to go out on a limb like this and at least stick up for the rest of college football and players, I think is admirable because him playing, he can only go down.
Listen,
he can't go up.
A few days ago, I told the George Selvey story where he was slated his junior year, put up some monster numbers, was slated to go first or second round, wanted to come back to South Florida, had unfinished business. Much to the chagrin, obviously, a guy by the name of Jason Pierre-Paul came around from a JUCO, I think it was, and Jason Pierre-Paul went first round, and George Selvey got drafted after me.
So it happens.
It happens.
Like we always think we're like, okay, you got to play, got to get that game tape on just to showcase your game and increase your stock. Well, you can lose your stock as well. Selvey's an example. Laviska Shenault is an example. It didn't lose by much, but still, first round, second round's pretty big difference.
Correct.
So it can happen. Is the point? I think there's so much to dissect here. The Big Ten, they just tweeted this a bit ago. Now I can't find it, of course. I'm going to find it because I just retweeted it. Okay, Bruce Feldman said Big Ten's Kevin Warren on what changed in the past 6 days for them. Quote, there's too much uncertainty now for us to go forward. This is a novel virus. It is spreading at an alarming rate. There are just too many uncertainties from a medical standpoint for us to go forward. End quote. I probably said a lot more, but this is just one quote. You know what I would say to that? Say, what is this, from March? What was that quote from April? Was that quote from May? Was that quote from June? They just released a Big Ten schedule last week.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell did you get to a Big Ten schedule if this is your thinking and nothing changed? You can't sit here and tell me that nothing changed in the Big Ten. Something changed. Is it the heart stuff?
Could be.
Could be.
That was a report that came out last night.
Say we've got new evidence, new information. If that's the case, then say, don't give us that. That's been the case for months in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've not been one of those guys that says, whether it's schools, whether it's sports related, whether it's whatever related, I am not one of those folks that say, well, you've had all this time to prepare. I do think things have changed slightly. Numbers have changed. You've kind of kept your fingers crossed. Do I think you could have plans and contingencies in place? Absolutely. I could have had those conversations for months and months. If you're in a leadership role, you should be like, hey, if we get to August now and this is where it's at, well, we're not going to be able to go. I think they should have had those in place. But I do think information changes, maybe even the latest stuff about the heart conditions with athletes, or at least several of them. How severe is that? What we don't know, and this is why I bring this up, that statement to me says nothing, because something did change in the last week. Either presidents, it finally came across their desk, and they started to give it thought, but they had kids on campus. I mean, they've got athletes on campus ready to play fall sports, and they just 180'd on Saturday afternoon when the MAC decided not to play. That's the way it is presented to us. Something changed in the last 72 hours, 96 hours.
Well, it wasn't the MAC. I mean, listen, with all due respect to the MAC football conference, they don't have jurisdiction to be like, well, if the MAC's shutting down, then I'm out. It's completely different. I think the MAC shut down because, I mean, listen, I'm not sure how much money they're generating, but I don't think they have the revenue for the COVID-19 testing and all that stuff to try to keep players safe. So I understand that, along with the Ivy League and the other universities following suit. I get that. Obviously, the Big Ten probably took a hit with basketball being done, all that stuff, but they still have the revenue to provide a safe facility for these players. Now, once again, whether they found something in the testing where it was like, you know what, we're not going to risk this, that's on them and that's their decision. My big thing, though, is, okay, so we're sitting here now in August. Do you think it's going to be that much of a change in the springtime? Because if what happens in the springtime when you come out and say, you know what, we're still a little kind of taken back by what's going on with COVID-19, we're canceling the spring season. Then you've essentially screwed your college football players because now that there is no playing. You didn't let them transfer, you can't transfer, and now they can't play. So once again, and I get it, man, there's no perfect answer here, Brent. We don't know what it's going to be like in a week, from a month from now, 3 months from now. I don't have a crystal ball to show me that. But all I know is I'm not going to be surprised if we're talking about the springtime and we still don't have a great feel for this virus and some of the precautions geared towards it. And all of a sudden now we're talking about, well, better shut that spring football down.
Well, here's the next shoe to drop. The Pac-12 says we're done too, according to Brett McMurphy. News conference coming up in the next 35 minutes, and kind of like the reports indicated. And again, this is how it's presented to us over the weekend. Mac dropped, then the rumors about the Big Ten and the Pac-12 game, hot and heavy, Saturday and Sunday, into Monday. A lot of discussions and meetings that led to this morning, and now the Big Ten announces, and the Pac-12 reportedly has announced as well that there will be no fall sports and football in the fall, and my guess is a delay potentially to the spring. We'll talk about it when we come back. Also have FSU at 4 because there was more reaction on the campus of the Florida State Seminoles. We'll get to that from Mike Norvell and others. ACC, like the SEC, continues to move toward playing football. Is it the right thing to do by these conferences to at least wait for now and carry on as planned? That's coming up on ESPN 690.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence, or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Florida children are eligible for head-to-toe coverage through the Florida Kid Care Program, which is high-quality, affordable health and dental coverage with cost as low as $15 a month. To assist families applying for Florida Kid Care or Medicaid and increase enrollment in the Florida Kid Care Program, the Players Center for Child Health with Wolfson Children's Hospital offers free application assistance. For appointments, call 904-202-WELL. That's 904-202-9355. Habla Español.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Oil change coming up? We can help you out. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need it fast, we can help you get it fast. Whether it's at home with our next day delivery or in store and curbside with our free same day pickup. The choice is yours. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. 2 big dominoes have fallen. The Big Ten announcing it's postponed the fall sports season, including football, because of ongoing health and safety concerns related to the pandemic. The Pac-12 reportedly also postponing fall sports seasons. Both conferences are hoping to play in the spring. Coaches, though, are concerned about the viability of spring football, explains ESPN college football writer Adam Rittenberg.
How is it going to work? How is it not going to add, even more risks that we've never had to deal with before in terms of trying to squeeze 2 seasons into 1 calendar year? How is it going to impact eligibility? How is it going to impact recruiting?
Adam Rittenberg on ESPN Radio Afternoon. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey told ESPN's Heather Dinich he's monitoring other conferences regarding their looming decisions on fall sports, but his focus is on the SEC. Stay tuned to ESPN Radio for the latest on this developing story. Major League Baseball has suspended Astros hitting coach Alex Centrone 20 games for his role in Sunday's benches clearing incident with the Athletics. Oakland outfielder Ramon Laureano suspended 6 games by MLB.
Did you know that right now, Geico is offering an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies? That's on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Visit geico.com to learn more.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Here with all the protocols and procedures that are going on, I don't know where it would be safer, because if we're out there and we're just doing our own thing, basically, it's like accountability, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Accountability. So I think we have all these protocols in place in this, and you trust that your teammates are going to be accountable, handle their business, and follow the protocols and stuff. I think that's our best bet, rather than just having, you send everybody home and you just have no idea, you have no control of what they're doing.
This is the safest environment for us. Just being at this facility, Coach Novell and our athletic trainer Jake has put together some protocols that's the safest for us. You talk about 18 or 22-year-olds just quarantining at their house, that's unrealistic. There's so many other things that, God are going to go do, and which is not safe. Being here with my team and all of us together is the safest for us.
That's out of Tallahassee today. Josh Kandow, Keyshawn Helton, guys coming back from injury for Florida State, talking about coronavirus and playing amidst a pandemic. The ACC says game's still on. SEC says, hey, we're going to take all the time we can. We don't start until September 26th in terms of playing games. The Big 12 is somewhere in there. Who knows? But the ACC is out, and the Pac-12 is out as well. That just came down right before the last break. Pac-12 and Big 10 won't play football in the fall. My question I just asked on social media, and by the way, I do want to get back to what Helton there said from Florida State, because I just saw an interesting post from Ohio State when it comes to, is the safest place to be inside kind of that bubble of a university, bubble of a football team and program, and they can take care of you, or to be sent back home. I thought on that in just a moment. I just shared on social media as the news of the Pac-12 came down, and we already know the Big Ten in the last hour. I mean, it's been a blockbuster hour here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. If you are a coach, president, AD, commissioner in the ACC, SEC, Big 12, I understand taking your time, and that's cool. I think they should. I don't think they have to just come out here today and tomorrow and say, but you've got to really be leaning toward, are we going out on this island? I mean, are we really going to do this? It's not about being first. It's not about being last. It's about being right.
Correct.
And I mean, this goes back to the presidential election reporting way back of 2000 and whatever, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Remember? And it's not about that εγώ-driven stuff. It's in this situation, it's about being right, because there's a lot at stake if you're wrong. And I'm put myself in like Greg Sankey's position right now, commissioner of the SEC, or Dan Mullen's position, and I'm like, wow, my gosh, all these guys. Listen, we know we want to play. I mean, we think we can do it, but if these guys are saying no, I mean, 2 out of the 40% of the Power 5 just said, no, we can't do it, and they're already canceling. And the Pac-12 is now saying, we don't even think the science adds up for the spring, but we're going to at least explore the spring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my goodness, is this just a regional thing? I mean, are we really getting caught up in, well, we think one way and up in the Midwest and California than we do in the Southeast and in Texas and Oklahoma and other places?
Let's go ahead and put it out there, man. Okay, obviously the Big Ten was the first one to bring this to the table. Pac-12 follows suit. You think of the Pac-12, what do you think of? Think of West Coast, California, Washington, things like that. And once again, we don't want to get political on the show here, but I think there are a lot more blue states than there are red states. Let's be honest here. So if that's being said, and if you go to the Midwest here, and you go to Iowa, Nebraska, even Wisconsin, you can make cases for both sides. But is this a political thing? Is this a political thing where it's like the more liberal states, let's just say, are pushing for obviously maybe football in the spring or shutting it down, and more of the conservative states, a la maybe like a Florida, maybe like a Georgia, are pushing for playing college football business as usual?
Yeah, and by the way, if you want to even go, I think traditionally, and again, I'm not a political guy. We try not to go that way, but this is a fair question right now. Ohio usually, I think, votes Republican. I think it's pretty close. And Ohio State is kind of pushed back on it yesterday, right? To a degree, at least Ryan Day did, the voice of the program. Now, a lot of coaches did. A lot of coaches pushed back. So, I don't like to go there, but are we going there?
This is where we are, though. I mean, this is the world now, Brent,
and so I said this to you in the break. The hard thing about the world we do live in, especially if you are not hardcore one way or another and really just infatuated with the political views of our world when it comes to anything, the hard thing is what to believe and why it's happening. It's why did the Big Ten turn in the last 3 or 4 days? That was our conversation before. Mm-hmm. What changed? Was it the potential power play of the players that now it's positioning going forward? Is that a little bit in their back pocket? Is this our last-ditch chance to say, hey, all this likeness and image and power of the players, we got to save it?
No, there's no
Is there a political play in here? Is there really concern about this heart condition that has come to light over the last few days? Is this really what everybody should be doing, even if they're trying to get to a playing field? Again, you can tell me no. I don't know. That's my point. We're in a situation where we don't know what the motivation is. And when I see the Big Ten guy come out and say something that he could have said in March, April, May, or June, yet he really just pivoted big time over the last 4 or 5 days after releasing a schedule, it makes my mind wonder even more.
See, well, listen, I'm going to tell you no, all right? Because when we talk about the image and the players getting money and things like that, listen, whether the Big Ten embraces that or not, whether they embrace the student-athlete empowerment that's coming, it doesn't matter if you postpone the season till the spring, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now. It's coming, okay? And that's just the way it is. Listen, if you're in the NFL right now, I don't care what you think about star athletes. If they want to get out of their teams, all they got to do is go on Twitter, talk some smack, and they'll get traded. Okay, that's just the way it is. Now, it has to be the star player, but that's the way the world is right now. And the way the world is right now as well is that college players have more power than ever. So to sit here and say, well, you know what, maybe the Big Ten got cold feet and said, you know what, we don't, this whole empowerment thing, this whole athletes coming together on social media, we're not ready for it. Tough. You have to get ready for it because it's coming. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. So you can try to delay the inevitable as much as you want, but it's coming. So that's why I don't buy into that whole narrative.
Here's what Nebraska had to say. This is leadership for Nebraska. It comes from all different folks, from the president to the chancellor to athletic director and Scott Frost as well. collective statement. We are very disappointed in the decision by the Big Ten Conference to postpone the fall football season, as we have been and continue to be ready to play. Safety comes first. Based on the conversations with our medical experts, we continue to strongly believe the absolute safest place for our student athletes is within the rigorous safety protocols, testing procedures, and structure and support provided by Husker Athletics. We will continue to consult with medical experts and evaluate the situation as it emerges. We hope it may be possible for our student athletes to have the opportunity to compete. Now, that is not one of those statements that kind of they did yesterday in terms of we'll find a way to play, we want to play, we'll be ready to play. This statement is a little bit more, we just want to do what's right for our student athletes. Interestingly enough, Nicole Auerbach had this from Ohio State, and she's from The Athletic. Included in the Ohio State news release about the news today is this. All of the student athletes on scholarship will remain on scholarship. Well, the NCAA said that. That's not thanks Ohio State. That's everybody's got to do that. COVID-19 testing by the Department of Athletics and quarantine isolation protocols will continue for these student athletes. Access to team facilities and locker rooms and sports performance, medical training, and nutrition areas will be available under the current health and safety protocols that are in place. Tutoring, scheduling, and additional services provided through the Student Athlete Support Services Office are ongoing. Comprehensive mental health services will continue for all student athletes, though the athletic department staff, or through the athletic department staff at its Sports Psychology and Wellness Service Department. What's interesting about that is there was some thought from the players, and some part of the argument was, hey, we're safer here than if you disperse everybody, send everyone home. Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to be able to stay on campus because, well, right now, school is going to try to go on in most places. A lot of it's being done virtually, but you can stay on campus. You can get the testing. You can kind of stay in that bubble. You just don't play. Mm-hmm. They're providing, at least, it looks like some of these schools, I would assume most schools, especially given what the NCAA said last week, the ability to stay safe kind of in that school bubble that players thought they would be the most safest in.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. Well, because I think even Keyshawn Helton just mentioned kind of the view we all have is, okay, if there's no football and they're not playing, well, they're going home. Mm. Well, you got to remember, this isn't professional sports.
Yeah.
They're going to school still. Mm-hmm. Now, some people can decide whether they want to do virtual from their home or from campus, and those things come into play. But I just think it's an interesting point, at least being out there, that you can still take advantage of all the things that you would normally do as a student athlete on campus, even though you're not playing on Saturdays and practicing maybe in the afternoon.
Listen, but as you should, though, right? Because you're still a student at the end of the day. And,
you should.
And these aren't high school kids here. These are grown adults. A lot of these grown adults, they have their own places. They either live on campus in the dorms or they stay off campus. So, like, they still have lives. They're still adults. There's still a way of doing things. So, yeah, to send them back home and say, all right, well, if you guys are safer back home, have fun. Dude, if I'm 19, 20 years old, I don't want to stay in my mom's basement the whole year. I want to go on my own. I'm an adult. So I like what they're doing there. I think it's the obvious play. And I'm glad they're following suit and obviously getting, whether it's the tutors or things like that, the study hall, that's still going to be prevalent because at the end of the day, we don't talk about it a lot, but they are students first and athletes second.
I got a question for you. Can you crown a national champion in college football this fall, well, heading into early next year, January, with 3 Power Fives playing in whatever conferences? If they play, do you think we will have a college football national champion that excludes the Pac-12 and the Big Ten?
If you're not going to have a champion, then why haven't played the sport in the first place? I mean, this is the way sports work. This is why we love sports so much, because we watch a season, we watch it weekly, and we say, this is the best team in the country. No, this is the best team in the country. Well, this is the crappiest team in the country. Yada, 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 yada. And then at the end of the year, we have one big shebang, and we say, you know what? This team truly was the best team in the country. Now, you can make an argument and say, well, if the Pac-12's not going to play and the Big Ten's not going to play, can you truly call it the best team in the country? Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if there's going to be 3 conferences, 2 conferences, or even 1 conference playing college football, whoever has the best record and then whoever goes on to win that championship, they're the champion. Simple as that. There's way too much money and there's way too much in sports in general to say, you know what? Let's not have a championship this year. Let's go ahead and have a respectable conference championships, and then we'll just kind of debate who's the best team in college football. You can't do that.
I think one thing you got to be a little careful of right now is I don't know how concerned we should be. I said this about the spring, too. I don't know how concerned we should be with doing things the way they normally have been done. And, we can't have a championship if all 5 power conference, or if everybody doesn't have a chance, or we can't have football if our best players have skipped out and gone to the NFL draft instead. No, this is a wacky time, folks. It's different. You are trying to salvage something. And in part, listen, the universities are trying to salvage something. Money, scholarships that they've granted, they would want used, I would think. There's going to be a backlog of athletes in high school that are trying to come in. That's going to create a different kind of issue. But I do think the main goal is to utilize that student athlete's year of eligibility on the field and not see a season taken away. So if you play at some point in the fall, you play in the spring, yet we have to do goofy championships with not everybody involved, or no championships, and it's just a conference championship. You know what? That's the way it is. Like, again, this is going to be a wacky year, and not everything's going to be the way you planned it out. We've already all figured that out in every walk of life. So I think the number one thing, obviously health and safety and all that stuff, the number one thing next on the table for me is not to crown a national champ. It's to utilize the student athletes' eligibility. Like, you allow them to play the game they've practiced to play if you can. I mean, in that safe environment. So it's not, to me, is to crown a champ. I understand you play sports to get a championship, but that's not. It's a little different animal here. Like, you wouldn't say that. Again, in high school, you wouldn't say that. Be like, well, let's make sure. Right? In high school football,
that's because high school football's not bringing in $5 million or more than $5 million per season.
Understand, but if we're thinking the right way, is my point here. It's about the student athlete and getting them on the field.
Is it about the student athlete, though, or is it also about the money?
Well, listen, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 basically said it's about the student athlete. It's not about the money right now.
But I'm saying the conferences right now that are open, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. Is this truly about the student athlete, or is it about generating some income?
Well, by the way, if you play at all, you generate a lot of income.
Correct.
This is not, it's like you make zero money in the regular season and you make bazillion dollars in the postseason and bowl games. Yes, you make a lot more if you're able to go win a national championship. But you're making a ton of money here as well on CBS and Fox and ESPN with those television rights. So that's just as important from a dollar standpoint. You're winning if you get the student athlete on the field from an economic standpoint.
I just look at it like this, though. The NBA bubble right now, and I grab this is professional sports, but this is kind of my point right now. If the NBA was just to say, you know what, let's just see who wins in the West, who wins in the East, and then we'll call it. Let's not see a champion, or let's see which division each MLB team wins, and then we'll call it. We don't want a World Series. We don't want a Stanley Cup in the NHL. Let's just have a couple games here or there, and let's have some fun. No. Like, viewership would go down, people would be ticked off, and the bottom dollar would be low. Listen, I'm not saying right now that the students aren't important, because they definitely are. But you're naive if you tell me right now the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 are still playing because, well, let's take care of our student athletes. We're worried about them. Yeah, a part of you does, but a part of you also understands, if you're the SEC right now, how much money you're bringing to the table, okay? So if you're truly worried about that money, you have to be concerned about what? The fans. And if you want to make the fans happy, you better have a championship to show who the best team in the country is, because if you don't have that, the fans are going to be frustrated and ticked off, then the product's going to suffer, and if the product's going to suffer, then the bottom line suffers.
It's can you smell what the Rock is cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tweet that.
Okay.
I think I'm the first one to do that today.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking? I'm sure there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people doing that. But go ahead and follow suit.
I'll be one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's trending.
Yeah.
But seriously, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? Yeah. Is he getting lucky?
No.
Potentially, or is there some genius behind this move to buy the XFL? I mean, you could put an 8-team league in a bubble in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could we? Is this an opportunity here to create a playing chance for a bunch of student athletes before the NFL calendar kicks in if you say, hey, Justin Fields, hey, Trevor Lawrence, hey, anybody. I'm going to put you in this bubble.
Yep.
And we're going to find, 8 teams times, let's just say 60 players. So we're going to 500 guys, and we're going to play, and we're going to do it here. And look, it worked out in the end. We're going to pay you, too, by the way. And look, it works out in the NBA. Look what they're doing. Worked out in the NHL right now. Look what they're doing. And here's your tape. You guys want tape? You got tape. We got the platform. Let's do it.
So let's go back real quick. Vince McMahon brings back the XFL with the goal to have an alternative to the NFL season. I think overall, there were some cool things that happened with the referees, with the betting, things like that. It came off as a pretty solid product. COVID-19 hits, kills the season, and you know what? It kills the league, crushes the league. Vince McMahon then, a couple weeks ago, sells it to obviously a former employee in The Rock, okay? The Rock, out of nowhere, buys the XFL during a pandemic, mind you, goes half in with his ex-wife and talks his ex-wife into investing with him. So now you're going to business with your ex-wife. Listen.
I don't know if that's on the business advice list.
I couldn't do an escape room with an ex-girlfriend, let alone run a company of millions and millions of dollars with an ex-wife. There's no way. Sorry, can't do it. But you know what? The Rock's a different kind of beast, man. So good for him for doing, whatever. Regardless of that, though, goes in with his ex-wife and now announces the new XFL. Okay, now, yes, from a marketing standpoint, The Rock's a big name. You bring viewership. But to me, there's more to it, man. To me, and listen, I get like there's a stereotype with The Rock where he's an action hero and, he's a professional wrestler, so maybe not the smartest dude. The guy's a very intelligent man, especially a very intelligent businessman. Look what he's done for Under Armour. Look what he's done for his own brand. So with that being said, I think The Rock was onto something here. I'm not sure, and once again, I'm not, accusing him of having inside information, but I think he saw the fact that, you know what? Some college football, it may be different this year. And they may not be playing. And you know what? If that's the case, we can poach some of those players, bring them to our league, showcase them. Because that's the thing that the XFL is missing. The last year when Vince McMahon owned it. It's the fact that, yeah, sure, I can bet on these games if I'm a degenerate, but I don't know any of these players. I don't know who's good. I don't know who's bad.
Playing.
Exactly. So Brent Martin was betting the whole time. So I don't know any of these players. But if you can poach some of these Big Ten players, if you can poach some of these Pac-12 players like a J.K. Fields, Justin Fields, well, now you got something. So I think The Rock might have been onto something. Obviously, I think there's a plan in place, and we'll see what happens.
Well, what we don't know, and I didn't. When he bought the thing and they bought the thing, I don't know if it said, hey, you got to put a team on the field at any time. He basically bought a league where he didn't come out and say, yeah, we'll be in the spring and we're going to play. They didn't announce all those kind of things. Basically bought the rights to the league.
Yeah.
Right? And he could have waited 4 years if he wanted to for an opportunity to present itself.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe even if he didn't know this was coming potentially, he was maybe just looking for an avenue at some point. I mean, did he have to roll it right back out there this coming spring?
Well, see, and here's the thing though, Brent. And then listen, that's a great question, and I have no idea. But I'm just saying, The Rock, dude, The Rock doesn't need any money, okay? The Rock is financially set for the rest of his life. His great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids are set for the rest of their lives.
If I shake his hand, I might be all set.
You might be set. As long as you know him. You're shaking his hand, you might be set. And listen, as far as things on his plate, I mean, he's got plenty going on. He's got the NBC, the NBC Titans games. He's got the movies. Dude, The Rock lives a very busy life, okay? So to me, to invest your time, effort, and skill set, and I get it, you're a football fan, but to invest that much, once again, not only money, but your time into a product, to me, you had to have the draw to it. You had to have something that was like, you know what? This is too good to pass up. And I truly feel like he thought that, you know what? With college football maybe shutting down this year, we'll have something there. And that's why he kind of jumped the gun a little bit and signed so quickly.
It's interesting. I don't know if they can pull all of that together quickly.
I mean,
whatever they've got to pull together.
Listen, though, you'd have to try, right? Or not?
Well, and you don't, by the way, you don't have to do it by like September or whatever. I mean, you could do something in November, December that runs into January, an 8-week thing, a little thing. Just do something. Mm-hmm. Like, and by the way, you would have probably network television bidding all over that stuff because now there are numerous holes in especially Fox's schedule because they run a lot of Pac-12 and Big Ten, I believe.
Yeah.
And who knows? CBS, and they could all have big holes. ESPN's going to have holes now without college football in the fall. Now, this again, we'll see what the NFL does. But the bottom line is there's still going to be holes in the schedule. And a fit for players like if a Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. Let me just ask you, if you're one of those guys, or if you're coming out of Murray State, and you don't get that last year, which probably propelled you to be a 5th-round draft pick in 2010, are you signing up and getting out and say, hey, I'll run the risk. I'm going to lose my scholarship. I'm going to lose my scholarship now. You got to check out of that. And that's easy for Trevor Lawrence. He knows $40 million awaits. Yeah. It's a little different for Austin Lane.
This is that Murray State degree, baby. I'm working here now because of it.
The Ivy League of...
Public Ivy League, Brent.
That's
a
right.
little respect for Murray State University, please.
But it's different.
Yeah.
You giving up your scholarship.
It is.
Because you don't know what's on the other side of that rainbow. So...
But, Brent, you're missing the big point, though, man.
But would you say, hey, deuces, as you like to say.
Yeah. You're missing
I'm coming to play in the XFL.
You're missing the big point, though. That scholarship, yeah, it means a lot to me. Piece of paper, nice little parchment there with my name on it. Hang it up. Mom would be so proud. Yeah. That conversation with my mom would probably be, oh, you're going to forego school? Yeah, Mom, sorry. But guess what? There's a caveat to that. Oh, Austin, what's that? I'm also making about $80,000 to $90,000 playing the XFL. That's the caveat right there, is you can pay players, man. You can pay players for, that just one season. Say, hey, you know what? If you're The Rock, listen, I'm The Rock. I got, I don't know, billions and billions of dollars. Maybe I go to Justin Fields. Maybe I go to Trey Lance. Hey, guys. You want to stay in school? That's cool. I get it. Get a degree. But you know what's cooler than a degree? $100,000. Now, once again, this is The Rock saying it, not me, kids out there. This is The Rock talking right now.
Actually, quite frankly, you made that sound cool enough for me.
Okay, you're right. All right, cool.
Especially I was about to ask, where do I sign?
$100,000. But that's my point, is you have the luxury to pay these kids. Because let's be honest, Brent, if you're the XFL right now, and you're in competition, obviously, with the NFL, if there's no college football this year, you don't mean to tell me the NFL is going to say, hey, Saturdays are open. What's our competition? The UFC? The UFC, not worried about it. Let's go ahead and have some NFL Saturdays. Let's go ahead and have some NFL more games on Thursdays, Wednesdays. I don't know. Let's just make this a household name for the rest of our existences. Meanwhile, what's the XFL going to do? We have something where we can counter with the NFL. And we have stuff on Saturdays. I mean, that's what it's all about, Brent. It's the competition. So I think, once again, the intrigue to make that money if you're in college right now and go play for whatever, a season of the XFL, and then use that as literally a trampoline to jump to the NFL, I think it makes too much sense.
Keep in mind, too, if you do that, just say it happens. You don't have to fill the Saturday-Sunday void. You can then go play on Tuesdays, Maction.
Yeah.
You can play on Wednesdays. And by the way, I'm not a proponent of this normally.
Yeah.
But this would be the one chance to play on Friday nights. I hate when colleges play on Friday nights. I think that's high school nights.
Sure.
But it's not high school nights all around the country this year. A lot have pushed to spring or canceled. So you potentially have a window there too. You can, and you only have 4 games a week if you have 8 teams. I'm telling you, I almost think it would be really smart right now, and this guy's way smarter than me.
Us, yeah. Way smarter than us.
You got to believe they're working on a bubble right now in the XFL.
Yep.
I mean, why wouldn't you? That would be something. That would be a twist.
That would be a game changer, because now you're talking about...
It could be a game changer, by the way, for all of college football, because they could do the same thing next year.
This is
even
my
when
point.
They do play.
This is why it's a game changer, because and once again, this is all theoretical right now, but let's say the XFL jumps off, they pop off, and all of a sudden players are getting escorted from Big Ten, Pac-12, and they're going to the XFL, making some money, showcasing some film, and it works out. Well, those next coming years, Brent, who's to say the landscape of college football is going to be the same ever again? It's not. So it's crazy.
Well, we don't know if the sports landscape is going to look a lot different. We've got that. By the way, if you don't have enough news and you're just jumping in, we, again, don't really talk politics much, but Joe Biden has picked Kamala Harris as his running mate.
Ah.
So that's new in as well today. If you're just checking out, you can always hear more about that on 104.5
Do we just go all in and talk politics in the last hour 30 here, man?
Nah,
just go all in today?
I can't do it. I can't sell
who
my
are you
soul.
Talking to?
I can't sell my soul.
To? What am I going to talk
Believe
about
me,
for an hour 30?
If we did it, the numbers would go crazy.
Oh, you know dang right they would. Yeah.
And I just can't do it.
Yeah. What would be hard to do for the whole day? Talk politics on this show or act like we're from England and talk soccer?
Well, probably
soccer, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And the numbers did spike for the Fulham mention.
You better believe it, man. It was the voices. It was the accents.
But we could really take this show off the rails if we wanted to go all like half politics, half sports.
I mean, have you been on Twitter lately?
That's what they're all doing. I mean,
say no more. Do you want extra $100,000? Do you want a scholarship? Let's go politics when we get back here on ESPN 690. Call in with all your political questions. There we go.
Oh, yeah. I like
I'm gonna dominate this politics segment coming up. Your political questions.
That will political your fancy. There you go.
Yeah, very good, Coos. I'd rather talk about my hair next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Scattered light showers this morning will be ending. Skies will become partly sunny. It'll be hot with late-day thunderstorms redeveloping. Highs in the low 90s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233. The summer shower of savings continue.
Beards announces our most exciting offer ever.
Right now at Beard's Diamonds, get 5 years, 0 interest, plus no money down on any purchase.
This is the best deal of the summer.
Take advantage of Beard's lowest prices in North Florida on diamonds, from engagement rings to necklaces. Then spread your payments out over 60 months. That's 5 years with no interest, not a dime.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
But just like summer, these hot deals won't last long. Hurry to Beard's Diamonds now.
Get her that designer setting she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months.
Now's your time to get out of the doghouse and save thousands. 0 interest for 5 years.
Beard's Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Come in. See the difference. Save thousands.
Injuries on the job can cause you to lose control. I'm Glenn Levine from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. Money is not coming in and your medical bills are piling up. Our legal team is here to help. We can help you file all your workers' compensation claims to make sure you get the proper benefits you're entitled to. If you've been injured on the job, call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
After a long day, having my dogs greet me at the door with their silly smiles and wagging tails makes me happy. I want to keep that joy with me for years to come. That's why I trust Forever Vets Animal Hospital to keep my pets healthy. Forever Vets was voted 2019's best vet in Jacksonville Magazine's Readers Poll, and it's easy to see why. The affordable wellness plans are tailored to meet all of your pet's changing needs as they grow. Open 7 days a week, Forever Vets friendly staff is available to treat you and your pet with care. They combine extended hours with online booking to allow you to give your pet quality care while accommodating your schedule. Go online to forevervets.com to find which of their 9 locations is nearest you. And don't forget their newest location in Bartram Market. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets happy and healthy forever.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
With COVID-19, more local families than ever need food. Our seniors require extra support, and kids stuck at home could use something to smile about. A gift in any amount will make a big difference, especially when you give through Jewish Family and Community Services. Thanks to the Max Block Food Pantry Matching Challenge, your donation will automatically double. Jewish Family and Community Services. Here for hunger, here for Jags. Learn more at hereforjax.com.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, "Goal!" You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
Florida children are eligible for head-to-toe coverage through the Florida Kid Care Program, which is high-quality, affordable health and dental coverage with cost as low as $15 a month. To assist families applying for Florida Kid Care or Medicaid and increase enrollment in the Florida Kid Care Program, the Player Center for Child Health with Wolfson Children's Hospital offers free application assistance. For appointments, call 904-202-WELL. That's 904-202-9355. Habla Español.
This supporting cast won 7 games last year with a quarterback who threw 30 interceptions.
The Max Kellerman Show.
The Bucks are loaded. They're loaded.
August 17th at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Health-wise, it's like night and day. Last year, I was just trying to get on the field. Even at this point, I don't even think I was cleared yet at this point last year. And when I did get cleared, I ended up having another injury. So, for me, it's like night and day, finally being able to be healthy. So I'm looking forward to it.
That is Cam Robinson, the left tackle of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Big year for him. One of my predictions, he's going to be better than people think. Let's see if I am right. Speaking of predicting, no. Scientifically trying to predict. I don't know what they call it, what he would be offended by or not. But I'm bringing in Mike Burish from First Alert Weather Team. Best in the business, because, Burish, it's raining again like crazy. But bigger than that, quite frankly, I kind of know this is coming. But I consider myself, like you guys don't consider me, but I kind of consider myself part of the First Alert Weather Team when I can.
We agree completely.
Yeah,
we totally agree.
I like the weather. And
you're a closet weather nerd.
I am. But I couldn't believe I made it to 43 years of my life being a bit of a weather nerd. And I have never heard of what happened in Iowa yesterday, and I don't even know how to pronounce the name of it.
Derecho.
Derecho.
At least it's not Isaiah.
True. What is derecho? Why have I never heard of that before?
Actually, it's interesting. That was coined by a dude a professor from the University of Iowa back in the late 1800s, believe it or not. So it's been around for a long time. But, of course, in the world of social media now and all the communications we can and do make, it becomes a much bigger thing when it happens. But it's relatively frequent, actually, these kinds of storms. But they're almost like land hurricanes. They're tremendous storms. They're squall lines of storms that move really fast. They were moving 70 miles per hour yesterday with wind gusts of 100 to 110 miles per hour. Now, you know how Iowans are, and I can say that because I'm from Iowa. My dad lives there. 20 minutes before the storm hit, I texted him. I'm like, Dad, pretty bad storm. He texts me back, well, we need the rain, son. About 25 minutes later, he calls me. He's like, it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm stuck in my pickup. I'm like, no way.
Wow.
He's okay. They still don't have power today, but it was just a tremendous storm, and it traveled all the way from southeast South Dakota to Ohio in about 15 hours' time, and did damage all the way along that track. So it's pretty amazing.
Well, Mike, then this begs the question, and you said it yourself, you're an Iowa guy, right? The Iowa State Cyclones, that's their mascot. Okay. Number one, I would say you should call them the Derechos. You can shorten it up, call them the Chos. Why not, man? I'm into it. Marketing, money.
Hey, hang on 1 second for a quick live update. It takes 9 seconds.
Yeah, he's going to do a quick live update.
Should I talk?
No, well, we can talk.
I don't want to mess anything up.
He's going on TV
here.
right now.
Okay, but I don't know if his mic's on. I don't want to mess anything up.
No, okay. I'm sure we're not coming through his live update.
Okay.
But I love your idea, the Chos.
The Chos.
I think he's a Hawkeye.
It's all right, I'm ready for some more radio now.
No, you're all right.
You're all
That's
good.
a live TV update because we do have storms rolling through the area right now, right?
Storms rolling in, but more important question. So when we talk about the derechos right now, and it should have been Iowa State, what's the difference between a derecho and a cyclone?
Well, that's a good point, a good question. Technically, a cyclone is an area of low pressure, a mid-latitude, low-pressure area. It's a storm system that brings rain. It's a little bit broader system. When we talk about it in the U.S., there are other terms geographically around the world, but that's how we would see it. A cyclone is an area of low-pressure storminess, and a derecho is a severe thunderstorm with those high winds that moves over a long stretch of area for miles and miles. So that would technically be the difference. Of course, the cyclone on the field is always a winner, guys.
I'm just saying. Iowa State, step your game up. What, the Iowa State low pressures compared to the Iowa State destructive derechos? Like, come on, man. It's not even close. What are we talking about here?
That could be a good new nickname.
I think so. Iowa State, get on that. Let's go. The Iowa State low pressures. Ooh.
Hey, you gotta go do weather, and if they find out you're hanging out with us on ESPN 690, they'll get mad at me. But give us a quick forecast update because it's pouring around here, and the storms keep rolling in late in the afternoon.
Exactly. The timing's been a little different each day. Last night it was more in the evening hours. Today it's the afternoon, and boy, I'll tell you what, it's coming together along the I-95 corridor for a rough go here the next hour or so. We're probably going to see 2 or 3 inches of rain in some places, some ponding of water, some flooding, a lot of hydroplaning on the highway, so be extra careful. But this stretch along I-95 all the way through Duval County and then southward into St. Johns County, it's a nasty storm this afternoon, so be extra careful out there. It'll be pretty much gone in the metro area, it'll be gone by at least 6:37 and maybe a little bit earlier than that.
All right. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Barsh. Thanks, man. Appreciate you checking in.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
Check in with Mike at 5 o'clock on CBS 47 and Fox 30. He is an Iowa guy. I'm serious. I had never heard of derecho, and I love you. That would be a cool nickname.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, the Cyclones? What are we talking about here, Brent?
Cyclones are terrible. It's not bad.
Listen, it was a lot more intimidating until, I call him Money Mike, told me of what it was like and what it's supposed to be. It's a low-pressure system. No one's afraid of low-pressure systems, Brent. No, I'm sure a cyclone can do some damage, so I don't want to make light of that. But we got derechos. Like, the word destructive always follows the word derecho. Destructive derechos. Alliteration aside, that's what happens. Cyclones? Out of here.
Derechos. I like it. The Iowa State derechos, they would be way better in sports if they were the derechos.
Without a doubt. And that's science, Brent. That's not us talking. That's science talking right now.
By the way, serious thing in Iowa, though. If you look and across the Midwest, if you look at a lot of corn crops, which is a heavy time right now for corn, and it will really hurt
right now.
The economy out there big time. So it was a devastating one with the derechos.
Front page, what does it say in the beginning?
Destructive derecho. 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Enough said.
700-mile path.
Jeez.
It's incredible.
That's insane. I can't believe I heard
some
that before
hills
either.
out there or something to stop. Buildings. Well, no, you don't want buildings, I guess.
Yeah, careful about that, Brent.
But thanks for Mike Barsh for stopping in. I got a thought, actually, because we're just talking about the weather. I thought about this morning.
Yeah.
What's like the appropriate time, wrong time? Like, what's the barometer, speaking of a weather term, for somebody to start working on their yard in the morning?
Well, see, you're talking to the right person, right? Because I worked landscaping 2 summers to help, pay for some of my college expenses. Beer. So with that being said, Mom's listening too. She'd be bummed about that one. So I think the way it worked in Wisconsin when I worked there, it was that it had to be 8 a.m. 8 a.m. was the earliest you could go, with the weed whackers, with the lawnmowers, things like that. So I'm saying 8 a.m., Brent.
Well, that's about right. Maybe that is the rule.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, and I'm not so you have to explain. So obviously, one of your neighbors. We don't have to name him by name or anything, but one of your neighbors woke you up today.
It's all different. I heard it today, so it got me thinking of it today. Steph hates it. She hates it.
No, and I understand that.
Like, I don't mind it as much, but Steph's kind of like,
Yeah,
so it depends what it is. Today it was weird. I don't know if somebody was pressure washing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a mower today or a weed whacker, but it was like a pressure washer. Mm-hmm. And I actually think it was like across the street. It wasn't even like right next to us.
Yeah.
But it was pretty loud.
Yeah.
And so it got me thinking of that. I'm like, I wonder what like the etiquette is on that. But 8 o'clock, I guess that would be reasonable.
If you're upset because someone's waking you up for landscaping or pressure washing at 8 a.m. and you're still in bed, maybe it's time to reevaluate some of your life choices. Now, if you work nights, I get that, but that's kind of on you, right? That's what you signed up for. You're going against the grain a little bit. But if you wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning and you don't work nights, it's like, well, who's waking me up to this lawnmower right now? Welcome to the real world. Have some kids and see how it pans out for you. You get zero sleep.
Our apartment complex is back by the garbage can in the complex.
Yeah.
And they bring in this truck every Monday morning, and I'm telling you, it's like 5:30 in the morning, and it's a truck, so it has to back up to pick this thing up. So it's just beep, beep. Yeah. Literally, I wake up, Nicole gets so upset with me because it wakes me up every time, and I just sit in bed, and I'm just fuming. I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. At 5:30 in the morning, you're doing this every Monday?
It really doesn't bother me, but that's early. I'll phrase it this way to you, because I thought maybe you'd say that. That's about the time. I don't really believe maybe we've got somebody earlier than 8. It doesn't feel like it, though.
Some HOAs, put in a time, don't they?
But I would say this then, okay? If you're going to make a business call, right? Or a call, like I would say if you're, what are those calls that we try to ignore?
Telemarketers? Telemarketers.
Like what time it feels like 9 o'clock is the earliest you can call somebody in the business world.
See, this is where I differ. I think 9 o'clock it's a decent time. But let's say I have to make like a business call. Let's say I have to do like an interview or something like that, and I'm trying to set up an appointment to interview somebody for the show or for whatever reason. I'm waiting till at least 10:30.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, have your breakfast first, because everyone's got their morning routine, right? Like, and once again, telemarketers are different because they don't give. You know what?
They don't.
They're on one mission here. But if I'm trying to be hospitable here, if I'm trying to show that, listen, I respect your mornings and everything, I'm waiting till at least 10:30.
Oh, that's
well, just
lenient.
Well, I know, but have some breakfast.
I guess my point, most people would say around 9. I think after 9, because you're thinking 9 to 5 job, right?
True.
We do an ESPN like digital meeting at 9:45, and I feel like that's egregious.
Yeah. Well, again, I understand different lifestyles, but I think it's at least. It's not like, whoa, I can't believe you called me at 9:45. Like if I'm up early and I need to call somebody, I will wait till after 9.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've called somebody before 9, unless it's somebody like that. I absolutely
would think if it was like if you or Nick or Austin were calling me and I looked at the time and it was 9 o'clock, I'd be like, all right, it's probably some work stuff. But if you were calling me at 7 in the morning, I'm like, something real bad just happened.
Yeah, that's really early.
I need to find a new job or something.
So I guess my point is if the etiquette is wait till after 9. Mm-hmm. Why isn't the etiquette to mow my lawn, my neighbor's lawn?
That's a good point. Well, because you're awake though, right? Like you're already up. Like I think the proper thing with the etiquette is, listen, if you're sleeping still, it's inappropriate. Like that's not very neighborly. But if they're awake, then yeah, let it fly. But here's the other question, and here's the other side of it: how late can you do landscaping till? How late can you run that lawnmower for?
Yeah,
how late is too late? Until dark?
I'd be fine with until dark. Here's the thing. The catch with the landscaping stuff is, first of all, you got to get it in early because of this. Storms going on right now.
Oh, I thought you meant the heat too, but the heat.
Well, and the heat.
Yeah.
And so it makes a lot of sense to go earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And by the way, landscaping business has got to be a good business. I see more different landscaping business. Like, are there more landscaping business per capita in Jacksonville,
dude,
than any other business?
Florida goes hard, man. Like back where I was from in Stevens Point, we had like monopoly on like 50 miles we would travel. Like nobody was touching us.
I feel like bug, getaway. What do you even call pest control? That's
pest control.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
there's a lot of those.
Bug getters.
Bug guys.
There's a lot of those in Florida.
Yeah, I feel like those too.
Well, there's a lot of bugs, bro.
But like I've been traded and handed down landscaping businesses.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, we got too busy for you. We don't want you anymore. Boom, next guy.
You're
we got too busy. We've grown. Boom, next guy.
Yeah.
I'm like on our third one.
You're on the bottom of the list. It sucks. Yeah. Listen, you couldn't pay me enough to work landscaping in this weather, in this heat.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
I would do it.
Oh, you think it's I'm gonna ride a mower all day and have my headphones in?
No,
dude,
it's
there's a
sweating.
lot more. Oh, it's sweating. You're sweating now. You're putting in sprinkler systems.
It's a hard
You're
job.
trimming bushes. Yeah, dude. There's no way. Like the Wisconsin summers were one thing, and I survived them. You have to wear pants too. Imagine me wearing pants every single day in the summer.
Yeah,
could you imagine that?
Little iffy.
Work boots? Kidding me? Vans,
yeah,
baby.
but
yeah.
But
No,
I'm
what?
terrified of getting bit by a snake, so boots and long pants just gives me that feeling like I got a chance.
Listen, the last thing we're thinking about when we're strapping our boots on and we're putting our Carhartt bibs on is, man, hope there's not going to be a snake today. Thank God I'm wearing my Carhartts just in case. No one's talking about that.
That's my thought in general whenever I'm walking by like a bush, even now. Right? Like, I'll just be walking to the gym in the morning, and I'm near a bush. I'm like, oh, no, I hope there's not a snake in that.
We're out in the Arizona desert. What are you...
Dude, you never know.
You never know what?
You never know if there's a snake in there.
I had a snake walk in front of me by my door 2 days ago. Wasn't even worried about it. It was a little black racer. Just kind of went on business. Like, unless it's like a rattlesnake, you're going to be okay, dude.
Once you identify it's a black racer, I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can't identify it's a black racer, then I'm not very cool.
To be fair, I didn't identify it. My wife did. I took a picture of it. I'm like, is this dangerous? She's like, no, you're fine. Okay, cool.
The one I can identify now is like the corn snake.
Yeah.
Because usually that's got a bunch of colors, and it's okay.
Yep.
From what I hear.
What you hope.
Major League Baseball, the A's, Laureano banned 6 games, and the bench coach was banned 20 games. Lost a third of the season for that brawl. The A's and the Astros.
Can we make baseball violence again, please, man? Can we make it gritty again? Come on, man. A third of the season, and it wasn't even you. Like, they didn't throw a punch. His players went after him.
No,
like,
but you knew it was going to be harsh because they don't want to
they
promote
don't want
that.
it. What don't they want to promote, though? This like the social distancing stuff?
Yes. You can't be fighting when you're trying to promote social distancing.
I understand that, Brent, but at the same time, like, if they all checked out, they all checked out. I mean, I get it. The optics looks really bad. But if they're all playing out there, it means that they're clear and they're ready to roll.
But make no mistake about it. That's why the severity of penalty has been what it is. Joe Kelly got the 8 games.
I get it, man.
Because of that. They do not want it. They're saying, we're going to penalize the heck out of you if you're going to do it. I'm a little surprised Laureano didn't get more, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's provoked, but he's the one that charged the dugout.
30 games, dude, a third of a season. Oh, I'm sorry, 20 games, third of a season. It's insane.
Hey, Yannick Ngakoue and Dave Caldwell have conversations. Does it change any of your feelings about Ngakoue playing in a Jags uniform this fall? It's next on ESPN 690.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Most players, street smart and educated, are going to always have a problem with a slickster. And I called him a slickster. Yes, I did.
Jay Williams.
It's an organization. It goes both ways, man. It ain't just like one player is the only thing that makes it happen.
And Zubin Mahente.
Our show is going to be about sports, sports, and sports.
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Mornings. Coming August 17th to the all-new ESPN Radio.
Let's take a minute and talk about your health, your good health. We can't take it for granted, and CGC Water would like to help. It's important to have clean, purified water in your home for your good health. CGC offers no contact sales and service appointments, and they've taken all the necessary precautions while in your home. Kinetico systems from CGC Water remove up to 99% of the contaminants. Now that's taking care of your health. This month, get 50% off a K5 reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. No more filling the landfills with plastic from expensive bottled water. Instead, fill up on cleaner, safer water from CGC Water. We love it at our house. You can have it at your house. Get the peace of mind knowing your family is drinking great tasting, purified, safe water. Kinetico features Premier Softeners, non-electric, twin tanks that are super efficient and use less salt. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer, servicing North Florida and Southeast Georgia.
You've been waiting for a new ride, right? Just waiting for the right sale. Well, the time has come because every quality pre-owned car, truck, SUV, and van has been marked way down for you to drive it home today when you buy from Arlington Toyota. You got to check out Arlington with over 750 new and quality pre-owned on the lot every day, just waiting for you to drive home. Domestics, luxury vehicles, imports, and Toyota certified pre-owned. It's all priced low and ready to go at Arlington Toyota. If you're worried about your credit, well, don't be, because with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And when it comes to total peace of mind, Arlington's got you covered with their 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. So what are you waiting for? All pre-owned is on sale now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Home Builders Institute is a national leader for career training in the building industry and provides students the skills and experience they need for successful careers. HBI training programs are taught in local communities across the country to youth, veterans, displaced workers, and other underserved populations. These programs do more than just provide job skills. They also build character and self-esteem, helping to provide students with the skills they need to succeed on the job and in life. Learn more at hbi.org.
You hear all the time about Diamonds Direct's prices and selection and warranties. All true, and all good reasons to give us a visit. But what really sets Diamonds Direct apart is something that's hard to put into words. But you will feel it. You'll know it from the minute you walk in. It's our unique culture, our passion, our genuine and absolute desire to totally revolutionize the way you experience jewelry shopping, with a laser focus on celebrating your special moments. Every associate, every receptionist, every jewelry craftsman, every single person at Diamonds Direct shares this DNA, this overwhelming desire to exceed your expectations, to honor your trust, to revel in your moment, to make your experience truly magical. This is not a mission statement written on our wall. This is the essence of who we are. It's what drives us every day. It's why we do what we do. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. For real.
Nurses take extraordinary care of us during what is often the most difficult and trying times in one's life. We often take for granted the service and sacrifice of these first responders. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar & Levine. If you are a nurse and currently face investigation or complaint under the Florida Nurse Practice Act, you are not alone. Call the law offices of Anajar & Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. A big decision made by the Big Ten and the Pac-12. The Big Ten postponed fall sports, including football. The Pac-12 has postponed all sports through at least January 1st. Both conferences are hoping to play football in the spring. For college football, which has made safety a priority, spring football would be irresponsible, believes ESPN college football commentator Reese Davis.
You ask these guys to come and go through those types of collisions and then turn around and do it again in the fall without pushing it out far enough so that a medical professional can convince me that there's been enough time not only to recover, but to try to prevent other injuries in addition to concussion and be properly conditioned and trained for a football season and all the inherent risks that come with that. Don't talk to me about safety anymore.
Reese Davis. Nebraska released a statement saying it hopes to still possibly compete this fall. Major League Baseball suspended Astros hitting coach Alex Centrone 20 games for his role in Sunday's benches clearing incident with the A's. Oakland outfielder Ramon Laureano suspended 6 games.
Cover all your bases with Straight Talk Wireless. Get the same networks as big carriers, only pay up to 50% less. Get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN 690, the home of the Florida State Seminoles in Jacksonville.
Duke goes down to defeat Florida State 79. Duke 74.
The basket lays. Oh, it drops. It drops with 1.8 seconds to go. Here's the snap. Winston rolling right. Throws the pass on the other. It's caught. It's caught. It's caught.
You'll hear Noles football and men's basketball right here on ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio and the Florida State Seminoles.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
As far as the Yannick situation goes, I think you'd have to talk to him. I'm very cautious of speaking for him. I know, he and I have been in contact the last couple of days, but I think that is for him to discuss. And, he's earned the right to he played his contract out, and he's earned the right to do what's best for him and his family. So I'm going to defer any of his future questions to him and try to keep our conversations between he and I.
That is Dave Caldwell, Jaguars general manager, and we are starting to piece together a little more information on the Yannick Ngakoue situation. You know me, I'm a sunshine and rainbows guy, even on a rainy, dreary day.
You're
right now in the
right
afternoon.
Through, Brent. Shining right through, man.
Here in the Jacksonville, Florida area. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos on a Tuesday. Been full of college football talk. If you're just jumping in and just getting out of work, and be safe, by the way, driving through all this rain. But the Big Ten, Pac-12 canceled. Football season's in the fall. They are going to explore doing it in the spring. That would be the idea. How, we won't know for a little bit, I don't think. ACC, SEC, Big 12 says play on, at least for now. We'll see where that ends up. And we'll get back to the college football talk in a moment. But believe it or not, we're on the verge of going to our first Jags practice, and we've hardly talked about the Jags.
You're not lying.
The last couple of days. That's how big of a story this has been in college football. I also want to get to some of the young stars in sports, especially out on the West Coast coming up. But let's talk Jags for a minute. Yannick Ngakoue splits with his agent. That news comes out yesterday. Then Dave Caldwell, the Jags general manager, scheduled to talk today to the media and does so. And you just heard what he said. He's had some conversations with Jan, and it wasn't like I had a conversation. It was I had some conversations with Jan in the last couple of days. And he has played it like this ever since New Year's Eve when the announcement the Jags were coming back. Dave Caldwell said priority number one. He said we love him. He said gave us a little more insight on how the Jags feel about Jan. Since then, when we're at the Combine, actually I think even at Senior Bowl, but definitely the Combine, and other times Caldwell has talked around the draft, and even up to now, he's deferred to Jan. He's like, I'm going to leave it up to Jan to take things public if he wants to talk about it, but we're not publicly going to talk about what's going on with Yannick Ngakoue. They've essentially given him his space in that regard. They don't want to say anything to trigger, I think, Jan, in a sense, and trying to do their best, at least from their standpoint, to repair anything that could be repaired and leave out that little sense of hope that maybe he does play in 2020 still, and possibly even beyond. Everybody's had their views on this. It's been the most talked about topic probably on our radio show over the last year.
Yeah.
In the last 24 hours, learning that he split from his agent, and now learning that they've had conversations, and that's it. That's what we know. Those are the two little nuggets of knowledge that we have. Do you feel any differently about Jan playing for the Jags in 2020 and signing that tag?
Do I feel any differently? No, because at the end of the day, it's his decision. Now, I've been adamant since yesterday where I talked about, well, he got rid of his agent. Obviously, the new agent coming in is going to try to talk him into playing. So with that being said, I mean, you can feel a little different, but it comes down to Yannick Ngakoue's choice. And I think right now he's standing firm. So to me, him getting a new agent does nothing for me, to tell you the truth. But here's where I actually come around on it a little bit and say, you know what? This could be a different Yannick Ngakoue coming forward. It's the fact that, and I'm not sure who initiated the conversation. I'm not sure if Dave Caldwell reached out, or I'm not sure if Yannick Ngakoue reached out. But the point is, there's communication happening. And by the sound of Dave Caldwell in that presser, there's more than just a, hey, how you doing? There have been talks a little bit. I like that, all right? I love communication. Now, what that communication consists of, we aren't privy to that information, and that's okay. But my point is, the whole problem where the whole thing stemmed from in the beginning and how we got here was the lack of communication. It was when there was supposedly a contract offered, and, Yannick Ngakoue's camp felt like he was lowballed, and then the communication stopped. So I like the fact right now that people are talking. Talking can lead to different kind of things, but talking is a positive thing right now, especially in your Sunshine and Rainbows Club, Brent. I mean, if you're on that float right now, if you're in that parade, you're slamming those speakers and saying, they're talking, they're talking, they're talking.
Yeah, I guess I just have a little bit of a feel now, and that's it, the communication, the fact that there have been a couple conversations. What those could be like, no idea. Who started it? No idea. I think Dave Caldwell went on to say, and this is about all he offered, is he's calculating things, essentially, and working on things, and we'll leave it at that. But he was asked, does this give you any hope that it will play? And he wouldn't really lead on that, yeah, I do think this gives us new hope. Nah, it was more, he's got things to work out. He's played his 4 years here. Yeah. It's up to him and his family and how he wants to go along. But I'm telling you, been around Caldwell enough and listened to him in news conferences. Again, this is totally me reading into it, so it's not even like this could be me reading into it. The fact that they've had conversations, almost the way Caldwell said it, I think there's now a little renewed hope that there's a chance Jan not only signs it, but then I think if I'm the organization, I'm saying, okay, if he signs it, that gives us more time to repair, renew, refresh, and potentially get a deal done. Remember, this is the only guy the Jags have to sign right away from a long-term standpoint for the next couple of years. They don't have anybody that's going to command this kind of money over the next couple of years.
I mean, even if Cam Robinson comes out and dominates, it's not going to be that much money compared to Yannick Ngakoue.
You wouldn't think so. I mean, I understand Laramie Tunsil at 18, but he's not going to go in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have done enough by then to do that. So, again, that's further down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I just get the sense, and again, totally reading into it because that's all we have, but the idea that they have had communications, maybe multiple communications, whether it was Caldwell who reached out and said, hey, we heard you're split with the agent. Where do you want to go from here? Or whether it was Jan who said, hey, listen, I'm splitting with my agent. I'm going to get a new agent. Here's what I'm thinking. I want to at least open the door and let you and introduce you to him. I don't know how those things work. So maybe that's the way it went down. But the communication, I think, is a super positive sign for Jan getting on the field. And let me preface this, by the way. Part of the reason I think it's a good sign is because I already thought Yannick Ngakoue was going to sign the tender and be in anyway.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a big part of me that thinks he was actually going to sit out because I don't think it's the prudent move to do. He's earned the opportunity to make a lot of money in this 2020 season. You go make a lot of money, whether you like it or not, whether you're happy or not. This is one you kind of suck up. And I understand he's a man of principle. I appreciate the heck out of that. I just believe at the end of the day, at some point, he was going to play this season under the tag. I think this opens the door up to maybe be a quicker and maybe more amicable relationship with the Jacksonville Jaguars, at least this year.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously does, right? And, yeah, as far as being a man of principle, listen, regardless of what Yannick Ngakoue does, whether he chooses to sit out the entire season and stick by his word, or if he comes back and takes that $18 million and puts that in his bank account and then, maybe next year rides off in the sunset, goes someplace else. From my perspective, and, from obviously being a former player in those locker rooms, I think from his teammates' perspective, I don't think any of his teammates are looking a different way and say, oh, he decided to come back now. Wow, he went against his word. It's not like that at all, man. So, like, that's, to me, I mean, I understand right now he's trying to, and keep in mind, I mean, sitting out training camp, that's the move to do right now if you're Yannick Ngakoue. But I'm saying when he comes back, if he does choose to come back, I don't think it's going to be his peers saying, well, he shouldn't. I mean, I can't believe he went back on his word. Like, I'm not going to do that. I don't think any of his teammates would do that. But I want to touch on something you just said, though. You were talking about, and once again, this is, the sunshine and rainbows talking here more than anything. But if he was to come along, sign that tag, that's him playing ball now. That's him kind of dipping a toe in the pool and saying, you know what? Water's kind of warm. Maybe I'll hop back in. We'll see. But it's him making an effort. So then it begs the question, well, if he makes the effort, is there a chance, with the culture possibly changing now and everything like that, where going forward, he could be here for a long time? You could lock him up to that deal because, like you said, there's not a lot of guys right now that you have to lock up. But my question to you is, wasn't Chason essentially drafted because Yannick Ngakoue wasn't going to be here? So, like, how does that look from the organizational standpoint? And I understand you can never have too many pass rushers. I get that. But at the same time, you took a guy in the first round. Anytime you take a guy in the first round, he's got to be your starter, man, going forward. I mean, there's expectations to be that. And right now, you don't have the luxury of having a bona fide defense where it's like, you can afford to sit him a couple of years. No, man, he's got to play now. So if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, how does that look if you try to keep Yannick Ngakoue after you brought Chason in?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know if it's as big a problem in 2020. What would become an issue potentially is if you do reach a long-term deal down the road, and now you've got a potentially crowded room at a sometimes ego position as well.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like
down the road.
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm saying trying to get a long-term deal for Yannick Ngakoue. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, listen, the organization had to protect themselves against the idea that Jan wasn't going to be there. Do I think that's the sole reason they picked Chason? I don't think so. Do I think it's part of it? They won't tell you, but yeah, probably. And you can never have enough pass rushers, and you gave yourself an insurance clause if something went sour with Jan, and you give yourself an insurance clause even if he signs the tender and then goes and walks, or you trade him. So now you're pretty much set with some young guys at the pass rusher spot. How I feel about it, and I've said this since day one, is you could have something that nobody else has in the NFL if you try to find a way to keep all three of these guys. And you could have that for the next few years. Remember, what the Jags are trying to do is reset this thing in a hurry. They're not looking at 2025 or 24. They're looking at 2021 and 22. And if you could find a way, even on a short-term deal, to keep Jan, and you have Jan, Chason, and Josh Allen, I think that gives you a lot of flexibility, and you can flex your muscles at that position more than anybody potentially in the NFL. I think, you know this better than me, any good coach, coordinator, whatever, will find a way to get those guys on the field.
Well, and then that comes down to the biggest point, where if you have Chase on, Josh Allen, Yannick Ngakoue for, the future going forward, let's just say in a perfect world, right? Not saying it's going to happen, but in a perfect world, let's say that happens. Yeah, then to be fair, there is no more big defensive end, all right? There's no more Calais Campbell eating up, 20% of those snaps. You have to find a way to get two smaller. I say smaller. Look at Josh Allen. I say smaller. Look at Chase on. But you know what I'm talking about. You have to find a way to get two traditional defensive ends on the field at the same time every single play, as opposed to having that big defensive end for those first and second downs.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Jan narrative and conversation the last 2 days, in these last 48 hours, have been pretty interesting. I think a positive sign towards something happening. But again, I have to preface this with saying I thought all along he'd be in. Mm-hmm. So whether things do get repaired, whether a new agent comes in and says, hey, man, we're going to stick to this. You've already put your foot in the ground. We're going to stick to it. I still think at some point he's coming in to play for $1.2 million a game. I think he's going to sign that thing, and I think most people will advise him to do that as well. Maybe there's a reparation of this relationship along the way. Let me ask you another thing or two real quick. Just a quick thought or two, because we'll get into this more, but I certainly put it in the title of our show today, and so I want to ask you. Fournette talked yesterday, kind of liked the mood he was in, kind of liked what he had to say, and I actually thought I think this offense is moving away from Leonard Fournette in terms of being the featured guy. Sure. I think this is going to feature Gardner Minshew. That's what I think is going to feature. And I like the way he talked about the offense and getting everybody involved in his role in it, instead of what some players could do, be like, yeah, why am I not getting the ball more? Mm-hmm. Now, maybe that happens during the course of the year. Maybe he's going to get the ball plenty enough anyway in the receiving game, in the running game. How much is he going to be featured as part of Jay Gruden's offense, do you think? Because we both believe the philosophical change is underway, where it will feature Minshew. Yeah. But how much can you still feature Fournette in this offense?
Listen, he's going to be featured. I think, obviously, first, second down, he's going to be the guy. It's play action, he's going to be the guy. But let's be honest here. You bring a guy in Chris Thompson, who's that receiving threat. So Leonard Fournette on third down, that could be few and far between now, right? So all of a sudden, Leonard Fournette isn't going to be the Jaguars' leading receiver like he was last year. And you know what? If you're Leonard Fournette, that's okay. Because he had the lion's share of the receptions last year. He had, obviously, the lion's share of the carries. And what did that get him? It got him okay stats, but it wasn't like that groundbreaking season that he's desperately looking for. Let's be honest right now. Leonard Fournette is looking for a great season from a touchdown perspective, from a yards per carry perspective, because it's not so much about being here in the future, but it's about getting that paycheck maybe someplace else. So with that being said, I think spelling Leonard Fournette here and there with Chris Thompson is going to keep him fresher. I think featuring Leonard Fournette on those goal line situations will get him the touchdowns. And obviously a Jay Gruden offense where he spreads the ball around, he moves the ball around, and definitely a quarterback-friendly short pass game, which you hope in the red zone it's going to look better than it did last year with John DeFilippo. I think Leonard Fournette's going to flourish. And I think he's going to obviously see a little decrease in playing time, but in doing so, it's going to help his stats out.
Less can be more sometimes.
Less can be more.
How about this? What a world, what a turn. If in Jacksonville in 2020 in the fall, there is some happiness found from Leonard Fournette and Yannick Ngakoue at Jags headquarters and on that field. That's something not many people predicted a few months ago with everything going on with Ngakoue and Fournette maybe out the door via a trade or something else.
You know what? I mean, you speak it into existence, it might happen, but I couldn't imagine, Brett. I honestly couldn't imagine. I'm just trying to visualize right now that first screen pass that I see, hopefully week 1 against the Colts. I'm going to go parading in the streets celebrating because, my God, we saw a screen pass. It's going to be a beautiful day.
We will see.
Oh, I know, pass. But I'm bracing myself for it, man. I know it's coming.
I can't wait for the over-under on how many plays into the season we see a screen pass.
One. It's going to be the first play. Jay Gruden's coming in. First play. Listen, this is going to be different. Screen pass.
If you want to get me excited about the Jags, I don't know if I want first pass, screen pass.
It's going to be a screen pass. Laviska Shenault in the backfield. Mark it down now.
Well, okay. Now you're on to something.
You liking that?
That's a little different.
You liking that?
I like that a little bit more.
Hey, don't worry. Those goosebumps are going to go away.
Yeah, I know. I've got them. Yeah. Last thought on the Jags. We're going to bring Stuart Weber in. He can jump in on this if he wants to. But, again, because I put it in the title, I want to get to it. I'm just doing a much better job at teasing things and delivering.
That's what we do here.
Cam Robinson did talk today. Offensive line, you know, they feel good about it. We know everybody out there doesn't, you know, all that stuff. We've had those conversations. But Cam Robinson specifically, are you thinking you're going to get good Cam Robinson? Or are you scratching your head with the idea of him playing left tackle?
I'm not scratching my head because I've seen him play left tackle before. Now, Will Richardson, maybe. Now, that's a different story because Richardson kind of, you know, played guard last year a little bit.
All over the place.
He had a couple reps at left tackle, did okay, but I think of him more as a guard. So, yeah, Cam Robinson is a left tackle. I'm not scratching my head at that. What it comes down to, though, is how serious was that knee injury last year and how is he feeling? Right now, he's reported saying it's like night and day where he feels this much better going on this season. Okay, you know what? And I believe that because he did struggle last year a little bit. But let's be honest, Brent. In terms of importance of a season, talk about Leonard Fournette, that contract year, Cam Robinson, same thing, okay? And to me, with Cam Robinson, you're coming off a disappointing season last year. I think the entire offensive line is. And you're at a position where you'll get exposed one way or another. It's not like Leonard Fournette where he has to get the carries. He has to get the passes. He has to get the goal line touch. No. Listen, you're going to be playing some great defensive ends in the AFC South, and every single week they're going to bring it. And we're going to find out real quick, regardless of the plays that are going to be called, where you're at right now with that knee. Okay? So I think going forward, I think Cam Robinson will be okay. I think he's going to make some leaps and bounds from last season. And I honestly think the left tackle position won't be a position of concern this year.
In one sense, there's a lot of pressure on Cam Robinson because he's the question mark. Like, people aren't questioning A.J. Cann anymore as much as they're questioning Cam Robinson. I don't think. At least that's what I'm hearing. And there's also a little less pressure on Cam Robinson to this point. Gardner Minshew takes that away from you. Gardner Minshew will save you at times. Nick Foles wasn't going to do that last year. You were going to be exposed if you didn't make a block.
Well, that and also Jay Gruden as well. Because, I mean, listen, if it's anything like Washington, where it's a very quarterback-friendly offense where the ball comes out quick, and keep in mind, he's talking about DJ Chark lining up in the slot. You put somebody in the slot when you want to give him the ball quickly. So I think we could see a lot of short passes, and obviously you do that. You keep Gardner Minshew healthy, number one, but number two, you help out your left and right tackle.
And plus, offensive linemen like screen passes because they can just let the guy go.
Absolutely.
Makes their job a little easier.
Stuart Weber with us here at Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Let's go racing, Weber.
Oh, I'm excited.
Daytona Road Course.
We might see.
Isn't it it's the bowling?
The Go Bowling 235, which combines another two of my favorite things in life, you know, racing and bowling.
Wait, it's the Go Bowling
235, yeah. 235.
Is it a website? I'm sorry, but you said Go Bowling.
It's like I think GoBowling.com might be the website, but it's the initiative to get people to go bowling. You know?
I didn't know bowling was doing so good in the pandemic with sponsorship, man. Dang,
hey,
okay.
Man, you know, different people use NASCAR to pump up their products, including the fine game of 10-pin bowling.
Okay.
What do you think about this, the road course? You're going to head down there for us on TV side. Should be pretty cool, right?
I think it's a very creative solution to yet another COVID problem. You know, the race was supposed to be at Watkins Glen this weekend, which is a road course in New York State. New York State said people from certain states need to quarantine for 2 weeks once they come in. One of those states was North Carolina at the time of this decision, and NASCAR's like, well, we're all from North Carolina, so we're just going to take the road course race. We're going to move it to another track owned by the same people. The folks who own Daytona own Watkins Glen, so there's NASCAR has done a lot of that shifting when it comes to track, for flexibility within COVID. And this will be the first time ever that we see Cup Series racing on the road course at Daytona. Now, we're familiar with the road course locally because we got the Rolex 24 every late January. That's what, ramps up speed weeks. But these drivers, for the most part, haven't done this, especially in a Cup Series car. Not to mention it's a season where you have no practice and no qualifying, to the point that NASCAR even said this week, no one can drive in the other series. So, like, where they normally go to the Xfinity Series to get a little warm-up and practice, the Cup Series drivers can't do that this week.
No advantage.
Because it would be an advantage over the guys who weren't doing that because there's no practice, and none of them have ever driven on this road course. In fact, no one has ever driven on this road course because they added 2 extra turns, making it completely unique. They added an extra chicane, essentially a little slow down left turn, right turn once you're coming off turn 4, so that you're not going into the new turn 1 at an absurd speed, which these cars would attain, and would make that turn even harder.
They basically slowed them down based on the configuration of the track.
They're slowing them down on the largest super speedway portion of the road course. That's the cool thing about this road course compared to maybe some other ones, is that it uses 2 good chunks of the tri-oval that you normally see in a Daytona race. You know, from turn 1 all the way to 3/4 down the backstretch, that's a straight shot. And then from turn 3, and it used to be 4 to, the start-finish, would be another long stretch. So they added that chicane to kind of slow things down.
And by the way, road course racing, you get chicane.
Yeah, you get chicane.
It's one of the coolest words in sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
So now they got 2 of them because they have one on the backstretch as well at Daytona.
Cool.
So you think it's going to be a big hit? Will it be something that sticks?
I'm curious now.
Or because of the Rolex and everything else.
So here's an interesting sidebar to it. They were actually planning to do Cup Series racing on the road course in 2021. So, the Busch Clash that starts off Speed Weeks, that was moving to the road course next year before any of this happened. So they had already kind of had the wheels turning a little bit about, hey, we've got this great course. We're at the World Center of Racing. Let's give it a shot. And so they were going to do that in a non-points fun event to start the season. Because a lot of the times with that Busch Clash, we'd always ask the question, did you learn anything for the 500? Now we don't have to ask that because now it's purely for fun.
Totally different.
Purely a different car entirely from what you'll race for the 500.
So they sped that process up. And by the way, this is like part 1 of a 2-parter in August at Daytona. They'll go back to the regular racing. The normal summer race been pushed to the end of the regular season calendar, which is coming up in late August. So,
so there's four races left in the entire regular season for NASCAR. You got the road course race this week at Daytona. You got a doubleheader the following week at Dover. And then you've got the Coke Zero Sugar 400. The traditional summer race at Daytona is now the last race of the regular season, which can only mean one thing, and that's anarchy. Because that you get that win and you're automatically in the postseason. You talk about some of these guys who don't have a win, who are nowhere near the picture of the playoffs. A guy like Ricky Stenhouse, who wrecks everyone but wins at Daytona because he wrecks everyone. That guy could steal a play. No holds barred. You could steal a playoff spot from one of these other guys who are battling right now. And really, if you look at the point standings right now, it's 6 guys fighting for 3 spots. About 13 of them are pretty well locked up. The 10 winners on the season, the Busch brothers and Eric Almirola. Those 10 guys pretty well into the 13 guys into the postseason. There's about 6 spots left for guys like William Byron, who's the last bubble guy. Guys below the bubble, Eric Jones, who just got cut from his team, by the way. He's not coming back to Joe Gibbs Racing next year. He got filled in by Christopher Bell, who's in the 95 this year. Jimmy Johnson, not in the picture right now. He's below the bubble.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy, but that's what happened last year. He didn't make the postseason, and this is the last time for him to do it. So if he wants to make it, he needs to either make up 30 points on William Byron and pass a guy in Eric Jones, or win a race in these last 4, which he hasn't had the speed to do so far this season.
I think it's wild in NASCAR because it's hard to break from tradition, although 2020 will be a year where they broke from a lot of tradition and a lot of different levels. But so Daytona summer race, which has become such a traditional race, people are like, oh, really? No, don't do that. But the excitement around that race is twofold. What you just said, you could have somebody that's really not even in the mix go out and win that race because that's what happens at Daytona. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really don't know it's not going to be the best guys. And that's what happens a lot in racing now. I mean, you can kind of know, Hamlin this year.
By the way,
can
you name who won the summer race last year at Daytona? I'm putting you on the spot here.
No. I'm trying to think back to media day. When we talked about who won.
He wasn't there. Not a Cup Series driver. Justin Haley.
Oh, geez. Well, there we go. Thank you for filling that in.
Yeah, no problem. You would have taken a little while. I was just proving a point here. But the point is,
has Eric Jones won that before?
Yeah, Eric Jones won a few years back. He did. And his future is unknown. We're in NASCAR silly season where all the contracts are up in the air. No one knows who's going to be in the 48 car next year. No one knows who's going to be in the 42 because it doesn't look like Matt Kenseth is a long-term solution for that one. Just based on his performance this year. So
easy on my boy Matt Kenseth.
Well, plus he came out for auto retirement.
Yeah, he came. Now I'm not holding anything against him. He just hasn't performed.
I'm just kidding.
He's had no practice.
He's a Wisconsin guy.
He's had no practice. He's had no chance to get acclimated. He's just had to show up and race under the circumstances he's done better than the 15 or so nobodies
His
at the
first
bottom.
race was the best race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
Won it.
As wild as that is.
So here's the thing, Brent. I'm on GoBowling.com right now.
Okay. Yeah, we're still on this. Here we go.
Oh, I'm all over it. Yeah.
Good.
If they can sponsor a NASCAR race, we can sponsor a NASCAR race. Because literally all this website is you put in your zip code and they show you the nearest bowling alley. That's all it is. So let's go.
That's what you want if you're that organization, I guess, right?
Maybe
how are you making that much money? Look at this college website. Look at this MySpace page. There's nothing special about it.
If we start talking politics every show, we'll sponsor a NASCAR race too.
I was gonna say that the ESPN 690 235 doesn't flow off the lips quite as well.
Here's what we do: ESPN 690. We lock this website down right now. We get GoPlayDarts.com. Nearest dartboards around the area, or maybe nearest pool tables around there.
By the way,
pool tables.
Not bad, because it took us forever in Atlanta to find a place.
Thank you very much. Pool tables and darts. Lock it in right now. Let's go.
Might be my house. I just bought a pool table today, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Can I throw in cornhole?
No.
They probably already have one. Go cornholing?
I'm not gonna
Don't type that. Don't type that in your internet browser, kids.
You're gonna have a call from PR in a little bit here.
Yeah, let's
start play those cards right, dude. No, I don't think you want to go there.
All right, so go bowling 235.
Kids listen to the show, Brent. Come on.
I thought we sponsored
My
the
mom
trucks
listens
race
to
this weekend. I don't know. Fun fact: Scott Lagasse going to be in the truck race, so
there we go.
got our local guy to root for on Sunday in part one of that doubleheader. And if you want to go root for him, you actually can, because they're open to fans. Both the races this weekend at Daytona for the road course, as well as obviously the summer race in a couple weeks, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. I think they're doing 25% capacity, something like that, to where, the road course, you can find some interesting spots to go watch that race from, which I always think is one of the coolest things about the 24 hours is all the different spots you can go from. So
Stewart will be running for president of Daytona International Speedway someday.
I hope so, man.
He knows his
He
stuff,
knows
man.
his stuff.
Good to have
Very
Stuart.
versed.
By the way, Stuart, what time is okay for your neighbors, now that you bought a new house, to mow the lawn?
yeah, I was listening to this discussion earlier, and when you mentioned 9 something, I was like, whoop, too early. Because for me, as you know, anything in a single digit is not going to work. We got to get to the double digits of 10 a.m. before I'm open for business and available. So yeah, I'd say 10 is fair. 10 is fair, but I'm a different cat.
Stuart, more importantly, Iowa State Cyclones or Iowa State Durachos?
Hey, I'm all about the Chos. Let's go Chos, man. All the
He's
way.
on board, man. Let's go.
By the way, I think you'd win that 95-5.
Everyone's going to go with that.
Okay, cool.
By the way, Scotty McKay said 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the Albany area. Buddy Scotty. Ursula Mayhem. We were vacationing at Amelia Island all last week. Condo next door decided to do a major renovation while we were there, ripping out cabinets, hammering, sawing wood. Commenced at 6:30 a.m. each morning. We complained, so they generously bumped to 7.
Her name's Ursula?
Oh, brutal.
On Twitter.
Oh, I got you.
That's brutal. 7. Even the bump to 7. It's nice that they waited.
Have a little respect, everybody.
Hey,
Come on.
We'll update you on college
Decency.
football and what you're missing out on the West Coast. Coming up next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Warm and humid tonight. Showers and heavy storms will end later this evening and overnight, but in the interim, some big-time lightning storms with some very heavy downpours and in the 70s. Partly sunny, hot, and humid tomorrow. Scattered afternoon thunderstorms again through Wednesday, high at 90 to 95. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0-interest financing.
Let's take a minute and talk about your health, your good health. We can't take it for granted, and CGC Water would like to help. It's important to have clean, purified water in your home for your good health. CGC offers no contact sales and service appointments, and they've taken all the necessary precautions while in your home. Kinetico systems from CGC Water remove up to 99% of the contaminants. Now that's taking care of your health. This month, get 50% off a K5 reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. No more filling the landfills with plastic from expensive bottled water. Instead, fill up on cleaner, safer water from CGC Water. We love it at our house. You can have it at your house. Get the peace of mind knowing your family is drinking great tasting, purified, safe water. Connecticut features premier softeners, non-electric, twin tanks that are super efficient and use less salt. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer, servicing North Florida and Southeast Georgia.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you can have control over your auto insurance costs by only paying for the miles you drive. Pay-per-mile car insurance comes with the same reliable coverage you've come to expect from Allstate, but is designed for people who aren't on the road as much. Drive less, save more with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote.
Price based on driving behaviors and includes daily rates subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
HBI, a national leader for career training in the building industry, is providing training, certification, and placement in the construction industry for veterans, their spouses, and children that are over the age of 18 at no cost. The following 2020 class dates are being offered: August 10th, September 14th, October 19th, and November 16th. For more program and class details, please call Joe Jones at 407-717-7609 or visit the website at hbi.org. That's hbi.org.
Come to the grand opening of Q Delicia, the best Mexican-American sports bar in town. Enjoy ice-cold beer, $10 sangria pitchers, along with the best quesadillas and fajitas in town while watching the game. If you can't go, at least you can watch. But don't be surprised if you hear, "Goal!" You can watch football, NFL, NBA, MLB, boxing, UFC, and more on multiple HD TVs. Visit Q Delicia for the grand opening on 3980 Southside Boulevard today. Q Delicia, the Mexican-American sports bar you never knew you needed. Call 904-253-3477.
It happens to all of us. That AC unit just starts making some noise, or even worse, it's not working anymore. This is the time of year you don't want that to happen. It's way too hot around here. My friends at Bold City Heating and Air will help. They helped us. It started with a call from my wife, and she said the AC wasn't working. So we jumped on boldcityac.com, and before we knew it, they were at the door. Super friendly customer service, clean, timely, and personal service call. And now we're loyal to Bold City Heating and Air. They took care of my family. They'll take care of your family. It's a big investment in AC unit, but a necessary one. Mirrors at Bold City Heating and Air has built a strong culture, and as a customer, you can feel it. We felt it. The easiest way to start the relationship with an AC company you can trust is to go to boldcityac.com. Have Bold City Heating and Air check out your AC. Right now, it's $25 off and annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it's working efficiently. Good peace of mind at the very least. Visit boldcityac.com. Be bold and beat the heat at boldcityac.com.
Time for more summer savings.
No other jeweler in North Florida can beat Beard's Diamonds. They have the largest selection and the lowest prices. And now with their 5-year zero-interest financing, you can go even bigger.
Yes, save on everything. Rings, earrings, bracelets, pendants, wedding bands, all designer jewelry, all colored gemstone pieces, and all diamonds. 5 years, zero interest, and no money down.
It's a great time to splurge on that $12,000 3-stone ring and pay just $200 a month.
Impress her with a bigger diamond engagement ring, a $6,000 setting from just $100 a month.
Or how about $3,000 diamond stud earrings, only $50 a month?
Get the absolute lowest prices Beards is known for. Then spread your payments out over 60 months with absolutely no interest and nothing down.
Beards Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Come in, see the difference, save thousands.
This is Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and it's time for the truth. I just want to let y'all know that we're going to make it through this pandemic. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought us this far to leave us. It's going to be all right. This has been Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and the truth will make you free.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You've got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Coos from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Now, I know there's a ton of ways you can listen to the show, but did you know one of the ways is through a smart speaker? Yes, the Google Home, the Amazon Alexa. It's pretty easy to do. Just tell either of them to play ESPN 690. Try it out weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m., and you can listen to Action Sports Jacks.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jacks.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I mean, I remember Leonard running a wheel route, but I don't remember him catching the ball, so I'm not really sure what he's talking about. He definitely has some wheels, and I was in a disadvantageous situation, but it did not get completed, I can tell you that.
That is Joe Schobert. Jacksonville Jaguars free agent linebacker. Looking forward to seeing him play. Of course, that was on the heels of what Leonard Fournette said with that wheel route. Now, Leonard didn't share the fact that he didn't catch the ball. Schobert did. I like that, a little trash talk back and forth via the microphone. And in the news conference setting. Not bad. Gardner Minshew, by the way, we'll talk tomorrow. Jay Gruden as well. Jags will this feels like real football. It feels like camp.
Yeah.
You're getting players. There's a lot of different angles to go through. And then just so the folks know, I understand. I don't say this like, hey, we get to go and you can't. That's not how. It will just, and by the way, I'm not sure how much I'm quite frankly looking forward to it either. It's going to look like an OTA, and it's going to be 150 degrees out.
Yeah, that's true. But there is one caveat to that. I'm not going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to be there Friday, okay?
And I'm not.
Here's what I need you to do tomorrow. Number one, you obviously have to pass the COVID test because I need you to be on the field with the players, okay? So go and take a COVID test, pass it, show whoever you got to show, Tad, whoever's in charge of that whole thing, show them that you passed the test, get a tape measure, okay? Go on the field, stand Gardner Minshew right next to Laviska Shenault, and I want you to measure from the bottom of their shorts down to the bottom of their cleats. And we're going to see who has the shorter shorts. Because if you remember correctly, I called three things. And the top thing that I called is that Laviska Shenault is going to have shorter shorts this training camp than Gardner Minshew.
Well, that won't be awkward at all.
No, not at all. Hey, this is hard-hitting stuff. The fans want to know, Brent. Okay? So I'm going to need you to do that. Appreciate it.
We'll try to do it.
Thank you, man.
We will be allowed out on the field tomorrow.
Yes.
And really from going forward. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, camp begins. This will feel a little bit more OTA-ish. Yeah. From what I understand over the next few days. But then next Monday, that next ramp-up phase starts in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And I think that will really start feeling like camp. Combine that with the access to the players we're getting via the Zoom calls, the updates from Jay Gruden and Todd Wash and Doug Marrone. It's starting to feel real, Yeah. And there have been no major hiccups just yet on the NFL side, at least that we know of. So things have seemingly gone pretty smooth so far. Again, people have been added to the list and the COVID-19 list, but Dave Caldwell even said it today. He said he's really comfortable with what they're doing. He thinks they're doing a great job of doing what they're supposed to do, following the protocols, and they're having success with it. So there's a lot of comfortability right now inside NFL buildings, I would assume, across the league.
Yep, absolutely, man. And listen, obviously there's rules set up for what we can and cannot talk about. But what are some of the biggest things that you're looking forward to day one of training camp? What are you watching?
Well, I want to see. Here's the deal with Minshew. Everybody keeps raving about it. Was what Brandon Linder said. He's in hella shape.
Hella shape. That's right.
Yeah. And even Dave Caldwell mentioned it today in terms of his fitness.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see that. But we saw these videos about how he had put on some weight and kind of the appropriate distribution of weight and try to be a little bit more durable. Well, is he moving like he moved last year too? Yeah. I mean, can we see that out on the field? I don't know. Listen, the biggest thing, I'm going to say Minshew right away because does he look sharp? Does he look like he's in command? Mm-hmm. How does he if he can't look in command under Jay Gruden's offense, well, then the whole offense is in trouble. Sure. So I go there first. My next one, I'm really intrigued by Laviska Shenault. Mm-hmm. I've said it multiple times here on the show. I think we are talking about a guy that we may have never seen the skill set of in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be the greatest player ever in Jacksonville. I did not say that. I said we may have not seen a guy you could utilize in your offensive game plan like this.
Well, I mean, would you make an argument for Shoelace, though, as they called Denard Robinson?
No, because it was so unproven.
Denard, and we were in college, though. I mean, it was very intriguing.
I know, but he wasn't like everything they were trying to make him into in the NFL. He was not that. He was asked to do a lot of different. Yeah. So, I mean, from quarterback to what you're asking him to do all these things, this offensive weapon, maybe the same idea.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, let's be honest. There had to be some kind of hype for Denard Robinson his rookie year in training camp.
Tremendous, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I'm going to still stick with what I said.
Do what you got to do.
There were still more question marks about Denard because it looked like a luxury pick to begin with in the 5th round. It was a 5th round pick. And with that, it was like, okay, the expectation, we'll see where it goes. It looks kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And what I've always said, and maybe the biggest criticism is, could you afford that kind of pick at that point in their building process at the time? And I think the answer, turned out to be no. But my point being, this is a guy that's a very well-respected, accomplished, productive receiver. And we're not going to be in Jacksonville and waiting, when's he going to go behind center to play quarterback? That's not going to be like that. He's going to play wide receiver, utilize him in different ways, maybe throw him in the backfield from time to time. And I also overthink, and I'm not trying to slight Denard Robinson. I think there's just the thing that catches your attention with Laviska Shenault when you hear people talk or you look at him on college film, like I watch a lot of it, but is the toughness. Like, that's what makes him different, is the after the catch stuff. I want to run you over from the wide receiver position.
Squats 550, Brent, in case you didn't know.
That's the thing. That makes it feel a lot different than the Denard stuff to me. Okay. Denard was almost like, hey, I'm going to be like a video game guy. Sure. And I want to run right by you, and I'm going to juke you. That's what I had in my mind. Yeah. I don't have that necessarily. This guy, I'm going to run right over you, which is interesting because of that position. That's not really what you think of at that position.
Yep.
So Laviska Shenault certainly will be the key. And then, hey, listen, I think one of the quietest guys of this offseason, still haven't heard from him. I don't know if he's purposely trying to be quiet. Miles Jack. What's Miles Jack look like? How comfortable is he? Do you notice a difference? Again, it's not like we're going to see him hit people, but the move, I mean, are they going to capitalize on Miles Jack's athleticism? Is he going to live up to what they gave him contractually last year? I think those are some of the things. Sure, you can do the C.J. Hendersons and everything else, but those would be a couple of things right off the rip my eyes I think will go to in the early stages of what's about to happen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we'll be out there tomorrow, and there'll be some observations tomorrow here on the show on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. All right, a couple other quick things. College football is a big story. Pac-12, Big Ten, postpone football seasons, cancel football seasons, delay football seasons, whatever you want to say. They're not playing in the fall. They're not playing football in 2020. They'll say they're going to explore the spring. ACC, SEC, Big 12. Hey, we're going along with our plan here. They haven't got that far down the road yet. They haven't come to any decisions yet. What's the next move in college football? If we already know the Pac-12's done and the Big Ten's done, what's the next domino in all this? Is it another conference that says, okay, we're done too? Or before we get there, do we start seeing this attempt of college players try to relocate? Do we see Ryan Day in Ohio State explore a new conference? Do we see Scott Frost in Nebraska say, we're going to try to find a way to play games anyway?
Yeah.
What is next in college football? And I don't know if we could be surprised by anything at this stage.
Do we see The Rock break through those training rooms at different colleges and say, hey, I got a spot for you guys? Like, who knows what's going to happen now? Great question. What's the next domino here to fall? I think what I said echoes through every single Big Ten team and every single Pac-12 team in terms of players in those locker rooms, where they know right now they're at a competitive disadvantage. They're at a disadvantage, obviously, for not playing football during the fall, and they're at a disadvantage of, maybe their draft stock going down now because they can't showcase their talents on the film. So I think right now what we're going to see at number one is obviously players trying to push the limits of what it means to be, to try to transfer, basically. What do they call it? It's not the I said it before. What's the term that everyone uses? It's the pool, not the pool, but the
portal.
Portal. Thank you very much. Hello. So I think right now the first thing is what constitutes a player to go in the portal or not. How is the NCAA going to combat that? That's the first thing. Next thing is going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be coaches trying to break away from the Big Ten and Pac-12 and try to set up something where they can play. Obviously, goes against the university's wishes, and now you're going to have some back and forth with them. We'll see what that's going to be like. Probably bad optics, to say the least. And then third of all, it's going to come down to, is the SEC, is the ACC, and is the Big 12, are they in this for the long haul? Regardless of if new information comes out, regardless of what their peers are doing, are they committed to this right now? Or are they going to feel pressure with their Big 10 counterparts and Pac-12 counterparts to say, you know what, man, we're out as well?
It's been a heavy couple of days in college football with the Big Ten and Pac-12 rumors and then the finalization of those decisions today. I don't expect, though, a big, heavy day tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. I think this will take some time. I think there will be a little bit of, okay, now what? And obviously, we're watching the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12. What will they do? Yeah. I think the SEC has been crystal clear. Greg Sankey said, hey, we're going to take our time with this. ACC says, hey, we're going to try to do this right now. We'll see about the Big 12. I do wonder the next shoe to drop will be, okay, Justin Fields, where's he going? What's he doing? How does he respond to this? Is it just an opt-out potentially, and you make those decisions now? Or is it, I want to go play football somewhere, anywhere, on any planet over the next few months, so find me a place. I think that's going to be the next thing that drops, even before the decisions are made. Potentially with the ACC, SEC, and Big 12. All right, we didn't get to this topic. I'll save it for tomorrow because, well, I'm the master of teasing a topic and not getting to it. But here's my advice. Do a little homework for this topic. Stay up a little later. Watch the Padres and Dodgers at 9:40 for a few innings. Watch the Athletics and the Angels for a few innings.
Okay.
And watch the young talent and just the talent alone. There's a thing called West Coast bias, and it's real. Guilty of it at times. We all are, because of our sleep schedules, most likely. But, man, if you're not watching Fernando Tatis Jr., and obviously Mike Trout, you're doing it wrong. You're doing yourself a disservice. And by the way, there's a litany of other players out there for those teams that you're missing out on. We'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow from a West Coast standpoint, but also a youth standpoint that we didn't get to today. But that's your homework assignment. Watch a little big league ball tonight. You won't be disappointed if you're watching those games because of those players. We'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Thanks for hanging with us. And we'll have Jags practice for you on a Wednesday here on ESPN 690. Hey, everyone, this is Brett Martineau from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this. The Jags have 2 opt-outs. How big are these losses in your opinion?
Lorente McCray is different to me. This is a guy who's going on his 7th season here in the NFL. If you have the honor to wear the C in that locker room, it means that you're a leader.